Hello, everyone. If you could let me know, I was on Ethan Van Sciver's New Year's Eve live stream last night. Someone mentioned the fact that my mic is terrible, and he assumed I was using the Mac, and I may have by mistake. I didn't, I always assumed that once I plug in the microphone, that it automatically does it. Sometimes does, sometimes doesn't, I guess. Anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know that it's been about 24 hours, a little over 24 hours for my 24-hour deal. It's at the top of my store, boschfawson.com. Check it out. If you guys can let me know. Hey, Michelle. Thanks, Beener. Hello to you. If you could let me know if the sound sounds okay or not. I had someone complain about it yesterday. Again, they might have been right. Maybe I was using the Mac microphone by mistake without checking on my audio to press that I have that F fine 683 microphone. I would appreciate it. Skull, Trevor. Glad you're here. Thanks for being here, guys. And I offered, it was a New Year's Eve special, my Muhammad Cartoons Volume 1. 132 Muhammad Cartoons, 92 pages. And the reason why it's 92 pages and it's only 32. Thanks, Bar. Appreciate it, Michelle. Thank you. I guess that sounds good. Good. These are all the cartoons I have here. Muhammad as Muppet Animal. Muhammad as Jack Nicholson from The Shining. And then you got a lot of these index card Muhammad cartoons, which I'm offering tonight and for the last 24 hours. So basically, if you buy my first volume of Muhammad cartoons, I send you, for the next hour, as long as this stream goes on, I send you this. It's another Muhammad index card, original art drawing, pencil, ink, signed by me. And this one I did for Christmas. I offered it for Christmas. It's Pigman putting on a Santa Claus hat on Muhammad. And he's not too happy about it, but he's not resisting, as you can tell. And also another thing, I ran out of my Pigman comics, and I'm not going to make any more prints of them because I'll be relaunching my Pigman comic as a crowdfund in a crowdfund campaign in this month. I have to still finish the 2 covers because I'm gonna have 3 covers on this. A few items on there, maybe some T-shirts, patches. A friend of mine's telling me about patches. They might be good. I might consider that. But when I sold all my package deals, I still had 4 copies of issue 2 of Pigman, and I have 1 more copy of. I got, for myself, I have 1 and 2, even though I had to give up 3 because there was an order that fell through the cracks, unfortunately, and it was. I'm not going to have a issue 3 for myself, but I'm going to have issue 1 and 2 at least of this original series. But, if anyone's interested, let me know. I took off the sale page on my website, but I have four copies of issue 2. 1 copy of issue 1, if anyone's interested. Give me an offer. Send me a message. Let me know. I would appreciate it. And I also just realized that someone just bought Islam Bitches, which is my book on Islamophiles. And Islamophiles is too kind a word for what they are. So that's why, if you look at it top, it says Islamophiles, and then crossing it out and calls them Islam bitches. And these are people across the centuries who have kissed Islam's ass as if they're Muslims, as if they're de facto Muslims. They praise it to the core. They praise it more than they praise their own religion or their own philosophy or their own ideology. And with that in mind, I got Pigman. I got Muhammad Pimp on the back, telling these Islamophiles, Muhammad Pimp here, and I want to ask my bitches who praise Islam one question. Why the hell aren't you Muslim? And that's a question I always ask these people. Okay, Islam's so great, it's beautiful, it's this, it's that. Why aren't you Muslim? What are you, Islamophobe? Islamophobe? Anyway, so this is, I basically take from these people across the centuries up till present day. I take their quotes, their actual quotes. I shame them. I dress them up in Islamic garb. And I have what I call, it's a Muhammad imp. Imp. It's an imp pimp. Small guys dressed in 1970s pimp style clothing, calling out these bitches. And he acknowledges throughout the book that I'm making him say these things. That's why he hates me. He goes, the evil forces make me say these things. I hope you know that. It was really fun. Look at this piece of shit. John Brennan. This is another guy who praised Islam to the core. And people say he's a secret Muslim. Why secret, John? Why secret? Why not public about it? What's a secret, John? So he goes here. He says, the goodness and beauty of Islam, the tremendous warmth of Islamic cultures and societies, the faith of peace and tolerance and great diversity, all complete, utter, disgusting lies. And I have Muhammad dance move with those platform shoes, pimp hat, pimp suit. My bitch, John Brennan, who deserves his mug. He is one ugly motherfucker. And on top of that, I said, Obama's Frankenstein CIA head, who never ever spoke of America in such glowing terms. Never. I got this other bitch here from Europe. I say, French socialist presidential candidate on the teenager, Mila, last name unknown because Islam does not mean peace, who is under police protection for criticizing Islam. Okay, she's under police protection, right? And this bitch said she should have shown more respect, manners, and knowledge, and should not be made into a paragon of freedom of expression. And then I have Mohammed Pimp here, Imp, saying, my bitch, Ségolène Royal, who will never be mistaken for a paragon of freedom of expression. Never. And it goes on, and it goes on and on. These writers across history, these politicians, these celebrities, these lowlifes, these rats. And it was really fun. And my point of bringing it up is this is the last copy that I have. And after always making copies, to be honest, I think I'm going to just stop. I mean, once I make that big bulk print, I think that's that. When I'm done, I'm done. They sit around a lot. You know, I get that big blast. I sell a lot of them. And then people want a few more. So I order a nice chunk to only sell a few. So right now I got one left. If anyone's interested, it's still available. You could buy it at my store. But just want to let you know, this is the only one left. If two order it, sorry, I'll just give you a refund. But it's out there. It's on my website, boschbalson.com. So this is it's a fun book. It really is. You got all these Islam bitches. And of course, you know, Muhammad's sitting there and he has his toes being done, right? Flowers, cigars, drink, getting his nails. And of course, he has a sword there. Anyway, so I do have 4 more copies print of... I have no more copies. I'm not going to make any more print copies of my old Muhammad Pigman cartoons. I keep mistaking these. God damn it. But I have 4 more print copies of Pigman. It's no longer available to order from my store. Let me know if you're interested. Give me an offer. We'll go back and forth. And let me know. But right now, I just want to... I have a stack of these, actually. I found a stack. I found a stack of these along with a stack of Prop Piganda, my 2009 book, which is the first print appearance of Pigman. It is available on my store. I found a whole box and I was like, holy shit, nice. So yeah, this is my first collection of Muhammad cartoons. I have 3 essays in here. I have cartoons such as these. This was a commission about Muhammad's comeuppance, this one. This was something I did after Charlie Hebdo. Je suis Muhammad instead of Je suis Charlie. Commemorating the Charlie Hebdo massacre 2 years after. And if you notice, that's Jerry Lewis. Supposedly he's famous in France. He has the bread, he has a croissant, the coffee, the beret, he has the wine. It's so cartoony. Okay, so let me check out your comments, guys. And I am going to discuss the attack in in New Orleans. As of right now, they said 10 earlier were killed. Now they're saying 15. And that's the thing about these attacks. They're so horrific that the initial estimate is always low, whether they're trying to downplay the attack or whether the fact is that people are in critical, condition and they've succumbed to their injuries by the end of the day. So we will discuss this. And it's so shitty, these assholes. Now look, I'm completely against mass immigration. I'm completely against Islamic immigration, especially post 9/11. We should have shut down all Islamic immigration post 9/11, unless there are absolute individual cases of people who are actually worthwhile, can do good in America, are anti-Islam or atheists or whatever. I get it. Individual immigration, if they can get here, good for them. Mass immigration from Islamic dictatorships, from people who have no experience living in civil society, who among them might be jihadists. Madness, absolute madness. But my point is that people were trying to say, this is an immigrant from Iran. Bullshit. He's born and raised here in Texas, this piece of shit. Born and raised here. And suppose he's a recent convert. And the thing about converts, in anything really, new converts always they're insecure, so they try to overdo it. They try to overdo it. Let me see here quick. Anyway, so I'm going to read some comments here. You guys can just chime in, ask questions, Q&A, and then I'm going to read this article from Jihad Watch about the jihadist attack, where he killed people with a truck, shot them. I mean, supposedly there was a girl. Oh my God. A young girl. One guy was describing her. She was flattened, completely flat. I don't know the details of what he was trying to say, but it just sounded absolutely horrific. Okay, you know what? I have to close out. Sorry, 1 second, guys. I have to do this now. Martin, thank you for ordering Islam Bitches. You have the final Islam Bitches. And I will say that for now, unless there's a major interest in me getting another huge print order, that's it. Those who have it, hold on to them, because flat out, there's no book like it. No book like it. There were a lot of Islamophiles, but there's no book on Islamophiles. And Doug Douglas Murray has one, but there's no book that takes it on the way I do. We're having Muhammad as a pimp on each page, introducing the Islam Bitches. So I have to remove the shopping cart. I'm sorry, guys, but I have to do it right now because I don't want anyone else to order it and be disappointed. Okay, I'm going to remove this shopping cart right now and just say sold out. Out of print. That's it. And again, you guys want to order, you want to try to do that, I'm all for it. If there's interest, absolutely. But no interest, no. I'm not going to continue getting these big orders and then a lot of the books just sitting there. Again, you get this blast of sales, which is great, and then they sit there in boxes. I don't want that. I just don't want that. And I'm just going to put out of print. So thank you for your patience, guys. I'm going to go read your comments in 1 minute. Thank you, guys. I do appreciate it. Give me 1 second here. Okay. There. And that is it. Okay. So Islam Bitches is out of print now. Again, unless you guys give me a nice big order, that's cool. I'll take it. Absolutely. But as of right now, no, that's that. I do appreciate everyone who got them. I had a nice initial big fat order with a number of boxes that I got from my printer, because it was pretty unique. I mean, it was like something. So, it's interesting. Let me tell you about in terms of sales. Right, my bestseller is Table for One, an individual book copy. Right out of the gate, sold a few thousand. For me, that was a big deal 20 years ago. 20 years ago. And then my Pigman comic, it went from digital to print, so I can't. It's thousands, but I don't know exactly what the number has settled on amongst the entire series or the individual issues. I can go find out at a certain point, but I don't really care. Hey, I got this number. I don't care. But I know that in terms of that big blast of orders, table of one sold, I had an ad in a Diamond, a full-page ad. Alex Toth endorsed it. Dennis Kitchen, some others. It got a little heat. I was nominated for an Eisner for it. And it's so unique. It takes place in a restaurant, in one night, an underground restaurant. You wouldn't assume people would be interested in that, but they absolutely were. Anyway, thank you, Solomon. I do appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. You got the last copy. That's that. And again, you guys want to give me a big fat order? Absolutely. I will. If it goes to a point where I can say to my printer, you know what, I want that another box or two, absolutely. Outside of that, I don't think so. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit on these boxes anymore. I'm pretty much streamlined right now. I have a number of propaganda, a number of these, my Muhammad cartoons. I have some Peaceful Death Threats 1 and 2. And Peaceful Death Threats, for some reason, was also a really good seller. I don't know why. I can't say why. It's all the death threats. I have thousands of death threats, so I put 400 in each of these books, volume 1 and volume 2. I could do at least 2 or 3 more volumes. I might do it, I might not, I don't know. And it's fun because I put the actual death threats that I got from Muhammad cartoons alongside fresh Muhammad cartoons inspired by those death threats. And on top of that, I have running commentary through the entire book. Half a dozen to sometimes 10 death threats on each page. I have commentary on a few of them on each page. Sometimes it's one page, it speaks for itself. I don't have to chime in there, but it's fun. It's sick. It's dark. But this is where we are. This is where we are, where these savages think they can get away with threatening human beings' lives over goddamn cartoons. But that's where we are. And I'm going to read the comments, and then I'm going to read this article. Okay. Let's see, guys. So thanks for being here, everyone. Michelle, Trevor, Bar, Lux, Tim, Mr. Solomon, thank you. Again, appreciate it. Okay, so let me read these comments here. Trevor, about, I believe, my Muhammad cartoons, goes, that book is great. It's only a problem is there are no Vikings or dinosaurs. That's right. Trevor, you drew that great Pigman versus dinosaurs drawing, and I get a kick out of people drawing Pigman. And John Malin is basically threatening to draw an image of Pigman, which if he does, I can't wait. I love seeing interpretations of Pigman. I know people would assume that I'm like a miser about it, like that's my characters, how dare anyone. Absolutely not. I love it because everyone, like Trevor did, brings their own interpretation to it because they're artists. They're really good artists, and they bring their own interpretation, and that's awesome. They see what I did and then do it their own way, and I just love seeing Pigman done that way. It's awesome. Trevor says time for that first Pigman leather graphic novel. Absolutely. That's, when I'm done with this series, if all goes well, if my launch goes well, and then issue 2, 3, 4, probably ended up being 6. And I'm thinking now it could be 300 pages probably. That's what it might end up being, the Pigman story. And if you don't know, let me fill you in. The Pigman story, basically, it's 2 stories in one. My initial reaction after 9/11 was to create a comic book in response, and not just take on jihad and the physical threat, the terrorism, but the ideology, Islam, that motivates it. And it's Islam. It's not Islamism. It's not all this bullshit. It's Islam. Islam tells Muslims to kill the infidels where we find them. Muhammad himself killed the infidels where we found them, and so on and so on. There is not a moderate Quran and an extremist Quran. All Muslims' Quran tells them to kill the infidels where they find them. Some Muslims are willing to take it to the distance, some aren't. So it's not that there's a moderate form of Islam. It's just that A lot of Muslims are human beings first. Good for us, good for them, but it's the true believers. And like any culture, heroes are a minority, and the same thing in Islam, where in their inverted morality, their heroes are the savages that go run over innocent people. Those are their heroes. It's sick, but it's true. So, in saying that, my initial reaction was to create some kind of, threat against this threat. Something that they'd be scared shit of, the Islamic enemy. Because they play a game of fear. It's like, all right, fuckers, I'm going to build someone to scare the fuck out of you. And you're going to call him a terrorist. He's not a terrorist. He only kills the savages who kill, but they see him as such. Like the left calls, anyone who criticizes them terrorists. Literally, they call them that. So then that's where Pigman came from. The initial drawings were, I was really scrambling. I was like, the first initial drawing was a big guy, just huge and really meaty, a little fatter than he ended up being. But the gist was there. He had the 9/11, September 11th symbol on his chest. I'll show you here quick. This is my small version of my Pigman bust. This is, if you notice, it says September 11, the Twin Towers, and also 9/11. And it has those two dents in there to suggest the 1993 first attack on the World Trade Center, and then also Flight 93. So there's a lot of stuff in there. I love this piece, by the way. Those guys did a hell of a job, and it looks just like my character. It was based off a design I drew from all different angles. And the first one they sent me wasn't that good. They made the eyes bigger. I said, please just make him the way I drew him, and I'll be happy. And they did. So I'm very happy. I have a larger version of that. Anyway, so Pigman was the initial idea, and then I was like, you know what? I was thinking about the political war, the cultural war, not just the physical, war. I wanted to talk about all the fronts. And that's when I started thinking about, okay, myself, what I'm doing, my background, why I'm doing this. I probably took on Pigman because of my Muslim background. As simple as that. It all came flooding back after 9/11, so I revisited my family's religion, the one I was raised in. I read everything I could get my hands on, reread the Quran twice at that point. I never read it when I was younger, but what I'm saying is I read it, reread it, and then kept referring to it as I was creating the story. And then I said, okay, how about if I write about the cartoonist who creates Pigman within the story? And it's basically, it's myself, but it's myself split in two. Okay, it's like a what if. What if one character who's like me, leaves Islam, becomes a recovered Muslim, and then what if I reverted back to Islam and submitted fully and was sincere in it? What would happen there? So it's twin brothers based on me, who I split in two. I split myself in two, so they represent the recovered Muslim and the born-again Muslim. So it's a double story. It's their battle and Pigman's battle against Super Jihad, who's like a brother to him. And that just made it interesting for me, more interesting for me, because then I can get into the nitty-gritty of the ideology, have all these battles at panels and conventions where they have post 9/11 comic books. One guy creates, this leftist creates a comic book, and they're called, what is it called? Let me show you quick. Love it first fight. Love it first fight, right? And what it is it's a quote-unquote Palestinian terrorist and an Israeli soldier. And he's trying to create like a Brokeback Mountain style. And then I got this other one, this idiot, religionist who puts a book called The Ecumen. The Ecumenical. It's a Muslim, a Jew, and a Christian, just basically loving each other and being great. A Muslim creates a comic called America. Well, about an Islamic America, and then there's Pigman, killing dukes. So I get a real chance to sink my teeth into the ideology, into how the culture reacts to what I've been doing, and it's fun. It makes it, and then from that, it's interesting because I initially intended Pigman just to do the dirty work of getting the jihadists, but I say, you know what? Killian's story started inspiring Pigman's. And maybe it was post Garland after I survived the jihadist attack where the two scumbags got their heads blown off after I won the Muhammad cartoon. I don't know, maybe it was that because I started expanding that issue. And then I had Pigman on a show battling Super Jihad ideologically on this show, where he was ambushed in an interview about his book called The Post-Islamic World. Post-Islamic World. Anyway, it's fun. It's something that I absolutely love. And I love the fact that I can get this second burst of life into it with Comicsgate. There seems to be interest there. I really enjoy being on Ethan's show. And I was on there last night. It was like a 5-hour stream on New Year's Eve. It was great. I had a lot of fun. Check it out if you haven't. Okay. So, yeah. Mr. Solomon, you got the Islam Bitches book. It's yours. I just put it aside, so that's that. I also removed the shopping cart. I don't want anyone else to buy it now. Hello, Tim. Hello. Michelle says it's fucked up. I'm not sure what you mean. Yes, Miss Solomon, you got it. Thank you. Yes, I definitely will sign it. Absolutely. I sign all the books, whether it's my initials or my name, for Islam Bitches and Peaceful Death Threats. I will sign it on the inside, on the first page, underneath the title. Like, it's not here. Anyway, I'll show you. But yeah, I definitely do. Yes, Michelle, I will definitely sign it. Absolutely. And for this one, I signed it, I believe. Where do I sign it? I don't like to sign it on a place that just doesn't quite work. I definitely signed it, I think a BF at the bottom, initials, because it's already, again, this is my Woody Muhammad cartoon. If you haven't seen it, this is the one that, it's more famous than me. I am sometimes referred to as the guy who drew that comic, that cartoon that people almost died at, which Jihadist got killed at. That's my name. The guy who won the contest where the Jihadist came to kill. Pretty funny. So Mr. Solomon says, some books are a little uncomfortable on the shelf for some people, literally depending on the title. There is that. I mean, I'll tell you, Mr. Solomon, it's frustrating, especially for, me. I rely on people to buy my books. This is how I make my living, right? And I get emails sometimes. I'm afraid to buy your stuff. It's like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that you're afraid to buy my stuff. Don't tell me that. Keep it to yourself. Buy my stuff or don't. I do appreciate everyone who does, and sometimes they don't say anything. They just want it. They want it in their possession. These are books that I guess a lot of people would not want, but there's enough people that do want it, and I'm very happy that they do, because that's how I make my living. So if you don't want to, if you're afraid to get it, don't tell me. Just don't get it. I don't want to hear it. It's a little cowardly, to be blunt. I'm the one taking all the risk. You're just buying it. And no offense to those who buy it. I appreciate all the support, but don't write me to tell me, I'm afraid to buy it. Okay, big shit. Michelle putting some pigs on. Tim. Yes, Bone Heap. I do have new covers for Pigman. Yes, I have 3 new covers. Well, okay, it's 3 new covers, but one of the covers will be what was the back cover on issue 3, which is Pigman in war paint. It's a very close-up shot of Pigman, and his mask is just drenched in blood, and there's smoke behind him, and it's a war zone. It's basically it's war paint is Jihadist blood. It's not his blood. It's Jihadist blood. So that's the one of the covers, and I have 2 other covers. I went through again a few dozen different doodles and sketches. And 2 jumped out at me. One of them was I mentioned it the other day, but I'll mention it again. A relatively traditional comic book battle scene, like a Jack Kirby type of thing, where it's Pigman taking on a whole load of Jihadists, and none of them are really fighting back. Some of them are running, some of them are scared shit. He's breaking one guy's neck. He has another guy's neck in his hand, and he's just going off. and it's exciting, it's fun. And then the other one will be focused on the four main characters, the twin brothers, Killian and Salam, and then Pigman and Super Jihad. And I believe as of right now, the way I'm still a little unsure about how I will lay it down, but it'll be shadows of Pigman and Super Jihad on the walls, but not silhouettes, not like pure shadows. It'll be drawing them. There'll be detail there, but shadowy images coming from the brothers, shadows. To say that, in the real world, the brothers are arguing at a table, and then in, the Pigman's world, they're battling. So that's the idea. And I like it because it tells a story in a snapshot that there's two battles going on here. Tim says, John has mentioned he would love to do a cover for you. Did he mention that? Because I know other people would mention that. If he did, hey man. That's awesome. John has been very, very generous. Very generous in his support, in his early support. The idea itself is something that I think appeals to him. Taking on this enemy in the way that I'm doing, which is it's very, very cool. So if he said that is awesome. We'll, I guess, go back and forth on him a little, and we'll see what we can do. Yes, Sean Porton said, a lot of fun last night. Yes, good job. Thanks. It was great. It was great. And you give me the little heads up. I think that Ethan was going live, so I say, you know what? Let me just see if I can get in there. So very, very cool. Tim, I'll be a better backer when Trump's in office and things hopefully get better. That's what I believe for most people. Tim, I believe that'll be the case because, again, we're going to get to first normalization. We won't have the government raping us the way they have. Raping us, and they have been raping us. Throwing our money away, using it for all kind of shit that they want. And we're sick of it. We're absolutely just sick of it. And so once it normalizes, then we could start to deal with some of the... we'll see. I mean, we shall see. But then we can start to deal with some of the problems, the financial problems. And then from there, I think it will be better off the way it was last time. Again, we have a party, an enemy party in this country who wants to see the country fail, and therefore Trump fail. So they will do their dirty work. They will do all the scummy shit that they do. That's who they are. They're rats. So we'll see. John, I'm eagerly waiting my opportunity to buy Pigman again. Thank you, John. Again, I really appreciate it. I really do, because I figure some people will want to have the pig size editions of issue 1 and issue 2. And again, issue 1 will be issue 1 and 2 of the old comics, but with added scenes, I guess remastered, that's the only word I can think of right now, where I go over it and see what I can improve, whether it's a lettering, whether it's the drawing, whether anything in there that I can improve, take away, or add. And then I will expand some scenes. I got some in mind that I'm like, you know what, I think I want to have this one give a more epic quality to the Pigman scenes. I think even J.J. Trujillo, is that how you pronounce it? I think he mentioned the fact that some of the Pigman and Super Jihad battle scenes weren't that exciting. That's fine. I mean, I'll look at it myself and say, okay, where can I amp it up a little? Where can I amp it up a little? Because it's always, you always want to get better, always. So I will definitely do that. I will look at each issue, and then so new cover, extra scenes, expanded moments here and there, extra bonus materials as well. And then issue 2 will be issue 3, what was issue 3, because that was already pig-sized. And then from there on, issue 3 will be all new material. All new material. Every single page will be all new material. So it would have been issue 4, but now it'll be issue 3, and it'll be another pig-sized. And then I think it'll end up being 6 issues as of right now. But we shall see. So thanks, John. Appreciate it. Thanks for getting the old ones, and thanks for wanting to get the new ones. I do appreciate it. Mr. Solomon says, you still have the cartoons book? How do we get one? The cartoons book, are you referring to this one? I have volume 1 and 2 of these. Is that what you're referring to? Let me know, Mr. Solomon. and Pigman as well. Pigman, as of right now, print wise, I only have. I sold out. I sold out of all my Pigman comics. I had. It's so funny. In the last few months, because of Comicsgate, I was cleaned out twice, not once but twice. So I had to get a lot of new stuff, and that's it. At that point, I'm like, you know what? I want to start this fresh. I want to start this new rebirth of Pigman, this relaunch with the backing of Comicsgate, hopefully, and we'll see. We will see how it goes. So again, if you could let me know, Mr. Solomon, you still have the cartoons book? How do we get one? If you're referring to this, it's on my website. I got volume 1 and 2. Let me know. And if you order it now, it'll be it's a little over the 24 hours now, but that's fine. As long as I'm on this live stream, that's fine, guys. I will add an original Muhammad drawing by me, signed, to every order. And Pigman 2, Miss Solomon, are you referring to Pigman 2? Because I only have now 4 copies, a print of the old number 2. That's it. And I have 1 copy left of number 1. I don't have any more 3. That's it. Because sometimes people ordered more of this and that. Sometimes they ordered more of 1. Sometimes they order 2 and so on. So I'm left with 4 print copies of issue 2. Let me know if anyone's interested. You can't get them on my store anymore. I took out the shopping carts. But do let me know. John says, I hope you get the opportunity to make Pigman number 1 and 2 the book you always want to be. Yes, I have great faith in the concept. Me too, John. And again, it's a whole new. I've been welcomed very warmly by Comicsgate. It's a whole new thing for me. I've been out in the wilderness for many years. I did it because I had to do it, regardless. And I knew I was killing my chances of getting mainstream work. I knew that. And I didn't. Ultimately, okay, it's not. I didn't give a shit. No, I would have loved to have written and drawn these heroes that I, loved growing up. Would have absolutely loved it. But there's you make a choice, and I said okay. And I used to go to conventions, guys, regularly. I went to San Diego Comic-Con year after year. I went to MoCA, the small press convention in New York City. I went to SPX in Maryland for a number of years. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I can't go there anymore. It sucks. It flat out sucks. I would like to. And the closest I got my foot in the door, Marvel and DC, was sent in Table for One to DC. Sent it to Mark Chirillo because Toth told me to send it to him. He says, and let him know I told you. And I did. And Mark seemed to like it. And he goes, some of the editors weren't too crazy about it. And look. And Mark Chirillo has been nothing but generous in responding to me. Nothing but generous. Always responding to me. And wherever he stands politically, I'm assuming he doesn't, he's not right-wing, but always respectful. It's awesome. And then Joe Quesada. I sent him a copy. What happened was I sent him something online. I don't know how I got to his email, but I did get to his email. And I sent him the, I walked through the crowded room, not a soul in sight. The signature image of my first book, Table for One, where the hero is walking through the crowded room in a restaurant, and it's I walking through the crowded room, not a soul in sight. Right there, that's the Table for One. If you see it behind me, that's not that's just the cover, but it's the back cover. That's what I was talking about. And he liked it so much. He goes, I love this. He goes, you got more? I said, I have 81 pages. Finished graphic novel. He goes, send it. I sent it, and he got sick, very sick. Was, I guess, out of the office, and it went into the hands of his assistant, Axel Alonso, piece of shit leftist, who destroyed Marvel. He clearly threw it in the garbage, and didn't remind probably Joe Quesada about it, which is unfortunate, but a part of me is like, okay, that's life. And then Pigman, I was like, okay, I'm taking on not just the Islamic enemy, I'm taking on the ideology motivates him, which is Islam. Islam motivates jihad. Anyone else tells you, they're liars. Any conservative, any leftist, anyone tells you liars. Any objectivist tells you that, they're liars. And they can't handle the truth. They just are. It's not a deviant aspect of the religion. It is the normative aspect of the religion, jihad. It is a, it is an absolute part of it, not a deviant part of it. Lil Heck Lou says, get a John Millen cover. He's very interested in Pigman. Hey, I will definitely mention it to him. He seems very interested, and I'm very interested in that. And he bought the original art of Pigman vowing destruction of the Jihadists when I put the Twin Tower tombstones. He bought that original art, which is awesome. He mentioned it. He cracked it open on the air, and someone gave me the heads up about that clip, and I posted it, and he reshared it with the exclamation point, which is awesome. Amoral fat 40-ounce trophy, yellow smiling. I don't know what that means. Mr. Solomon, okay, you're printing. Let me know what you mean, Mr. Solomon, if you could be very specific, because I'm trying to capture context of these things, but I'm not exactly sure. Printing again. I'm not printing any more Pigman comics of the old series. No, that's that. I am doing, and again, anyone who bought issue 4, you can contact me, and we'll have an understanding about maybe issue 3. Maybe we can just give that to you in place of that, or a refund. You guys let me know, because I did solicit that a while back. John says, I'm really enjoying these live streams. I like hearing you talk about your art. Thank you. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Your passion is inspiring. I love it. Absolutely love it. This is my life. And taking on, comic books take on evil, right? My comic book takes on real world evil. There's something about it for me that had to be done. These scumbags are more vicious and brutal than anyone that I can create. I think Frank Miller said it best after 9/11, where I think he said something along the lines of, you can't create worse enemies than this, worse villains, I think something along those lines, and he's absolutely right. And I concur. I even used that, and maybe I used before he mentioned it. I'm not saying he copied off me, he didn't, but it was the same thinking I had. I said, how the hell am I said, all these villains in comic books, they pale in comparison to the brutality, to the obscene violence that these scumbags engage in, as this piece of shit did today in New Orleans. And I'm going to read that article right there. Just give me a minute. Torchbearer Studio says, do we know what Muhammad actually looked like? Are there paintings or actual drawings of him when he was alive? No. And some Muslims attempt to tell me that, hey, man, you never really drew Muhammad, so you don't know what he looked like. And they put LOL, Yeah, because we know Muslims are real jolly, right? They're always laughing. No, they do that because they're spewing on that computer board. They're raging. So the point is, what they're trying to say is, you never drew him because you don't know what he looks like. It's like, so why are you guys trying to murder me? Okay. So I never drew him, according to you. Well, why trying to murder me? Pork Hunt says, being out in the wild on your own for so long, were you able to make a living off your cartooning, or did you have to do other jobs, pay the bills, etc.? For years, I was a waiter in a restaurant, and that's what ended up being the backdrop for my first graphic novel, Table for One. It's takes place in Manhattan restaurant, underground Manhattan restaurant, where anything that can happen does happen. And then after that, I was able to produce work for a number, for the last 15 years, I think, regular cartooning work. I did a lot of work for the Freedom Center for the last 14 years. The Freedom Center, David Horowitz's publication. And I did also college posters for them against Jihad, against Hamas. At least a number of cartoons a week. I was doing some cartoons for Jihad Watch. And this year, they actually they had to make a lot of cuts. So I was part of that, unfortunately. But it was great. It was great. Able to make a living, doing all my work, paying all my bills, doing that. And then, of course, doing my own comics and my books. I have 6 books. I have 3 comics now, which are now out of print. And I have, I can say 200 prints. I probably do. And I have trading cards, and 15 trading cards at this point. I have 2 Pigman trading cards, a lot of Muhammad trading cards. And I have a Table for One trading card also now. Check it out. Check out my store, guys. BoxFalls.com. It's a lot of stuff there. I got my Muhammad playing cards. I still got a whole box of those. I sold a nice chunk, but I still got some. People do buy them every so often. That involves others, so maybe people don't want to have that at a party. with their Muslim friends, right? But who knows? So yeah, I was able to do that for a while, and I'm still able to do that. So it's great because I got this one current project right now, which is exciting. Stormtrooper Julian Caesar says, has anyone from CG asked you to do cover or trading cards? Not yet. But if they do, we will see in time-wise, and we will see. Because I'm open to that. Definitely open to that. Torchbird Studio says, Marvel is weird. I ghosted 2 covers for them, got published, and did some background analysis, but I can't get an editor calling back. Yeah. I like the fact that Joe Quesada was interested, just by that one image. Very simple drawing with a very simple comment. And he said, you got more? I said, I got 81 pages, finished graphic novel. Send it. And he was like, he was ready for it, which is awesome. And, that guy, that piece of shit got it in his hands. And again, that under him, Axel Alonso is where Kamala Khan came in, Miss Marvel. It's very telling under him. Tim, John's a good dude. Yeah, he is. John's he's been great. Very, very generous in his support. Porkon said New Orleans is proof that Islam is poison, even infecting your own local-born youth. Yeah. Yep. Tim said, I get accused of being a Muslim a lot, but I'm half Cherokee. Huh. Accused. That's so funny. And it's true. It is an accusation. I've been called, even from people, like, if some right-wingers disagree with me, right? They tell me, you're Muslim. It's like, what? I'm a recovered Muslim. I'm ex-Muslim. They're trying to insult me. If I disagree with them about something, all of a sudden I'm Muslim again. And then, of course, there are Muslims who say, you were never Muslim, you stinking liar. Look at you. It's like, look at me. I say, you're a racist. You're trying to say only Muslims can be Arabs. That's bullshit. You got blacks, you got whites, you have all kinds of Muslims. If you can convert to a religion, that's it. It's not ideology. It's not a race. It's just stupid. Porkon, if enough trading cards, perhaps an eventual bonder. Yeah, I think so. Porkon, yeah, it'll get there. I'll have, right now, I have 15, I believe 15. I can see it getting to more, and I've seen these binders, and that could be pretty cool. Jeffrey says, Allah damn, man. Not exactly sure, but Jim tells you, I'm planning on having a poker night at my house with my set of playing cards. Very, very cool. Good luck. JB asks, hey Bosch, what's your website again? It is boschfalston.com. I got my blog. I got my store. Check it out. Thanks for asking. And anyone wants to check it out, I got a lot of stuff there still. The Pigmans are all out of print. I do have, for now, I got digital versions of Table for One, Pigman 1, 2, and 3. If people just want to read it, you have accessibility now. So let me read about this piece of shit who murdered human beings in New Orleans today. This is from Jihad Watch. I don't know yet how to put things on screen while I'm on screen. I'm sorry about that. I'm figuring all this stuff out, but I will do that eventually. I will do that. Magic Me says, you're a class act and a badass, Bosch. Very, very kind. Very kind. Thank you very much, Magic Me. I do appreciate it. You guys are very, very generous. Poor cunt. I hear you, Bosch. I get shit from the gropers and the tankies. Good for you. That's a badge of honor. I don't know what the tankies are. If you could let me know, but the gropers are pieces of shit. I remember I was on, what's that website? The green thing. It starts with a G. Anyway, I go on there, and these guys just went after me hard. Like, why you went after Islam? The Jews. What? The Jews are the problem? Sick. Anyway, the piece of shit. Pork says tells you you don't invite any Muslims, right? Okay, so let me just read this quick here. I keep getting this one thing on the screen, which is very weird. Tankies are Stalinists. Okay. That's the thing, you know what? And again, this is something that people dismiss or they understand. It's the same shit. Hey, Al. Hope all is well with you. And yes, Islam is indeed evil. Indeed it is. Islam as such. Not any alleged deviant form, but Islam as such. So Magic Me and Jim tells you. I just want to mention this one thing, and I get pushback from objectivists, from conservatives, from a lot of people, from libertarians, from leftists, of course. It's the same shit. Commies, Nazis, same shit. Same shit. And let me tell you why. When they talk about these, they say Nazis, Nazis, Nazis. That's an insult to Nazis by people who call them that. And the reason why they always call them that because they were socialists. They were national socialists. Nazis. Nazi is a derogatory term from critics of Nazism and Hitler and from communist socialists to try to also hide the fact that they were socialists. Hitler was a socialist. National socialism. Leftists never call Nazis national socialists and never call Nazism national socialism. So when people say, yeah, but Nazis and communists hate each other, yeah, just like the Protestants and the Catholics and the Shiites and the Sunnis, same shit. It's collectivism. It's evil. It's irrational. They all want power, and they don't want others to get in the way. They don't want their brothers to get in the way. It's internecine battles. That's what it is. These are brothers. These are brothers. So I don't buy that shit. And they say, yeah, they killed each other. Yeah, they were allies. Yeah, and until they weren't, because they got in each other's way. The Nazis and the communists, the National Socialists and the other socialists, the Soviets, USSR. It's Union of Socialist Republic, whatever they called it. Anyway, it's socialists. Fascists are socialists. This idea that fascism and Nazism are right wing and communism is left wing, it's like, no, they're all the same shit. That's why I got this poster out there, and it really sets off leftists, which I love. It's called Commie Nazis. It's on my website, available as a print. Commie Nazis, and I break down the fact that it's the same shitism. It's not Nazism or communism or fascism. It's the same shitism. They're all collectivists. They're all anti-freedom. They're all evil. So I don't separate them. I don't separate the Sunnis and Shiites. People try to say, well, we got to get the Sunnis to work with it. No. They want to kill each other. Good. Let them. Don't worry about it. Let them kill each other. Let the Saudis and Iranians kill each other. Let them go to war. Good. Anyway, we can discuss that, but Magic Me says apparently Axel Alonso named his kid after Tito, the communist revolutionary. Jesus Christ. Of course he did. He's a piece of shit. And that little rat, when he destroyed Marvel, you don't hear shit about him, do you? Nothing. He's out. Even those at Disney were probably like, damn it, this guy really hurt us here. We believe in all the same shit, but he was not successful doing it. It's like, yeah, it's impossible to be successful doing that, shoving all that, commie crap on readers. Okay, so from Jihad Watch, I want to read this article. Egon the Dragon Cock, I thought it was Tito Jackson. Okay, this is from Robert Spencer when it broke about the name of this piece of shit named Shamsud Din Jabbar. That was the attacker. He goes, it was jihad in New Orleans. Because people were like, our media is disgusting. The FBI is disgusting. They say this is not terrorism. This is a terrorist event. No, they say it's not a terrorist event. Event? What kind of language is that? So, Robert Spencer writes, let's see what this is. 1 second, guys. Okay, this is from Robert Spencer. Okay, so he wrote the bulk of this. Good. So Robert writes, check out Jihad Watch, guys, by the way. Check out Robert's books. He's written over, I think, 27 books at this point, maybe even 28. A great, great writer, a great thinker. He's the man when it comes to fighting Islam and jihad. And basically, he's what I modeled Pigman's secret identity in the Pigman comic. Frank Warner is Pigman, and he writes against Islam and jihad in his civilian identity. Lil Heck Lou Bosch is the OG monetize your haters. That's true. It's true. 7 years ago, I think, I started with the peaceful death threats, I believe. writing those books, and my co-writers in those books were Muslim death threats, Muslims sending me death threats across the world, entire world. A lot of them came from Pakistan for some reason, but they came from all over America even. Pakistan, there was a pop star who went after me. A pop star from, however pop star you can get in Pakistan. She was, and she wanted me beheaded. Anyway, let me read this, and then let me get to the comments right after, guys. I don't want to respond to them right away, because if I see them, I'm going to respond. So let me put it aside. Let me read this right now. So Robert, okay. PJ, it's most of it. All of it is here. It is available here. Okay. Okay, good. So it is available. After, it's called Breaking New Orleans Attacker Identified. PJ Media by Robert Spencer and a Jihad Watch. After initially denying that the attack in New Orleans in the early morning hours of New Year's Day was a terror attack, and then belatedly admitting that obvious fact, of course, the FBI is now confronted with an onerous task of investigating what was actually an Islamic Jihad attack. NBC reported early Wednesday afternoon that 4 senior law enforcement officials briefed on the matter say they have preliminarily identified the suspect in the vehicle ramming attack in New Orleans as Shamsud Dinjabar, 42. Dinjabar is, quote, accused of intentionally plowing a pickup truck into New Year's. These guys, they call themselves warriors. Idiots on our side call them warriors. They're not warriors. These are sneak attack rats. Go after softest targets. They go after children. They go after unarmed men, women. They drive their cars and trucks into them. These are scum. These are rats and not warriors. We got to get that out of our heads. Stop giving them that kind of compliment. Call them warriors, not warriors. These rats plow down people on the street who are just walking, just going about their day. Who knows what they're doing? And they drive into them. That's just, it's not a warrior. It's not a warrior. Warriors are the ones who, if you want to even give them that, who will go after our warriors, after our soldiers on the battlefield. They don't do that, these rats. There are no battlefield terrorists. They're scum of the earth. They're pieces of shit. Anyway, so this piece of shit, accused of intentionally plowing a pickup truck into New Year's revelers at about 3:15 a.m. on Bourbon Street. Authorities said the suspect is dead, the FBI said. In his vehicular jihad attack, Dinjabar murdered at least 10 people and injured dozens of others. Right now it's up to 15. Again, because the initial estimates were 10. It's 15 now, and it'll probably be more because, again, people succumb to their injuries. The mysterious flag on the back of the truck Dinjabar was driving seems to have been a flag of the Islamic State, ISIS, which is the same flag that the scumbags who tried to kill us in Garland, Texas, were carrying. And they had supposedly grenades on them as well. If that is definitively confirmed, it would not be surprising at all, for ISIS has called for vehicular jihad attacks as far back as 2014. In a long communique encouraging individual Muslims to carry out. By the way, I used to call people who can't read on YouTube read-tards. I'm a read-tard. Anyway, I've become one, unfortunately. But all the times I used to mock these guys, hey man, I'm in that same boat. I don't know what it is. Anyway, encouraging individual Muslims to carry out jihad attacks in Western countries, it quoted the Quran, "O you who believe, take your precautions, then advance the proven ones, or advance altogether." Then it stated, if you are not able to find an IED or bullet, then single out the disbelieving American, Frenchman, or any of their allies. Smash his head with a rock. Peaceful, huh? The religion of peace. Or slaughter him with a knife. Or run him over with your car, or throw him down from the high place, or choke him, or poison him. Do not lack. Do not be contemptible. Do not be contemptible. Those are contemptible attacks on innocent, you scumbags. Let your slogan be, may I not be saved if the cross worshiper and Tagut ruler ruling by man-made laws, patron survives. By the way, I have to mention something here in terms of these scumbags. Do not be contemptible and let your slogan be, what was I going to get at? Something, Anyway, I'm going to read your comments in 1 minute, guys. I'm almost done here. This is Robert writing, again, Robert Spencer writing in PJ Media and Jihad Watch. Check out Jihad Watch, guys. He's been doing this for, ever since 9/11, over 20 years, writing books, thousands of articles, and informing the world about the threat we face, and never bullshits people about what we're dealing with. We're dealing with Islam and jihad. Doesn't fuck around with these bullshit terms, where radical Islam, Islamism, all that bullshit, which is used to protect the speaker. It's not used to protect Islam. They can say what they want about, we want to respect. No, they're covering their ass. I'm not saying all Muslims. You don't have to say. You can say jihad without saying all Muslims. We know all Muslims are not engaged in this, but their religion sure as hell wants them to be, whether they are or not. And again, we're lucky that they're human beings first. Who the hell wants to live like a savage jihadist? Most of them don't. Only the savages, the most savage among them. So Robert continues, such attacks have not been common in the U.S., at least up until now, but they have happened. Back in May 2024, according to New York Post, a maniac tried to mow down Orthodox students and a rabbi outside a Brooklyn Jewish school Wednesday while allegedly yelling, "I'm going to kill all the Jews," in a shocking anti-Semitic attack. The name of the maniac was Asghar Ali. And video footage supplied by the Flatbush Shamrim Safety Patrol shows a crazed driver revving his engine and mounting the curb as he swerved toward Orthodox Jews milling around a yeshiva in Canarsie at about 11:25 a.m. Nevertheless, cops do not believe the attack is terror-related. My God, these scumbags. Every single jihadist attack they downplay. They lie. And they even say that it could be right-wingers, the media, and the scum in our government. No matter how many times these scumbags have murdered us. And again, over 300,000 human beings have been murdered in the name of Islam and jihad since 9/11. Keep that in mind. Over 300,000. Okay? This week alone, 115, I believe. Last week it was up to a few hundred. Check out the religionofpeace.com where they compile these numbers every single week. Every single week. And they have to revise them throughout the week as well. But check it out. It's religionofpeace.com. They have all the stats since 2002 or 2003. I believe that's the case. A little after 9/11. Nevertheless, cops do not believe the attack is terror-related and ... did not have evidence he was tied to radical groups online. Robert says, well, that settles that. Being sarcastic, of course. So yeah, this is horrific. So he goes on about some other attacks, but I just want to get back to this. Despite the frequency of such attacks, Western authorities don't seem particularly concerned about them. That's the thing. And let me say this. I've said it for many years. Our authorities across the world, can live. They can live with the deaths of citizens. Absolutely they can. To the point, okay? And let me tell you this if you don't know. To the point, and let me get the actual thing right now. It's on my X account. Let me find it. I posted it earlier today, so check it out, guys. Let me just find it quick. To the point that, remember the attack in Germany? By the way, I drew, someone asked me to make a Muhammad drawing on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, and I did. It's on my X feed. Check it out. It's Muhammad drunk against a lamppost, standing there. Okay. This is from Jihad Watch again. That's the go-to place. You guys want to know about the jihad, check it out. This Jihad Watch is, that's a place. And then, of course, you got the religionofpeace.com, which has the daily attacks. And they list them exactly what's, how many countries, where, what, this, that, which country. Check this out. The attack in Germany on that Christmas market? In Germany, right? Mecca Security was hired to protect Magdeburg Christmas market. They left 6-meter gap between traffic barriers. Listen to this, okay? They hired a place, some scumbag in the German government hired a place called Mecca Security. You know Mecca? You know the city in Saudi Arabia that that non-Muslims are not allowed in, no matter what? You know, they're not allowed unless you're Muslim. They hired a place called Mecca Security. That left, and this is what Robert says, that left plenty of room for Talib Abdul Mohsen to carry out his vehicular jihad attack. Anyone who might have suggested that Mecca Security might not have been the best choice for the job would have been excoriated as Islamophobic. And that's worse than mass murder for Europeans. Absolutely true. Sickening. Fucking sickening. And I believe that they have these big barriers that they didn't put up on that particular night, I believe. It's even more diabolical. My God. But anyway, let me remind you before I check the comments again, guys, that this is my closeout for this offer that I'm making. It's my first collection of Muhammad cartoons that I released. When did I release this? A number of years ago, I know that. 2018, okay. And I have some essays in here as well. I got Muhammad, front and back cover, given a peace sign in all blood. Why I draw Muhammad. I wrote this article. It's an exclusive drawing I made of Muhammad in that article. One of my first drawings of Muhammad. He's standing on the shoulder of Super Jihad, Pigman's enemy. And then I have also in the back, I showed you the other day, but it's an homage to Captain America punching Hitler. And in this one, it's Pigman punching Muhammad. And then Heath Ledger's Joker as Muhammad as well. Some may just want to watch the world burn. And that's what these scumbags want to do. They look at 9/11 and they love it. And then in this book, I also have what ended up being my most popular article ever. My name is Bosch, and I'm a recovered Muslim. And I also did something else. And then I did, A World Where the Bad Guy Won. That's about the Islamic world. A world where the bad guy won. And you can't see it here as clear, but it's a silhouette of Muhammad behind the page. And then a crescent. And then here I mentioned, just want to let you know, if you haven't seen this, it's the kind of praise that I got from Alex Toth. You are a mighty talented pro. Write, draw, stage, tell stories with brilliant savvy to all elements in a mix. I'm very impressed. Kudos. Let me think about that. You know, I've always held him for the last, I don't know how many years, as the greatest comic book artist ever, and he writes me that. I mean, incredible. And then you have these Daniel Greenfield, who I used to do cartoons for, the great Daniel Greenfield, who writes articles for Front Page Magazine. He writes, The Infidel's closest parallel is Frank Miller's Dark Knight, the only relevant post-9/11 comic. Much appreciated, Daniel, as always. And then you got Jim Shooter. I sent him a copy, and he said, well done, provocative. Not politically correct, you've got skills. Jim Shooter. I mean, big Jim Shooter. I love Jim Shooter. Secret Wars was the comic that got me into comics. I mentioned last night when Ethan asked us. And then Chuck Dixon wrote a powerful story and well told. You wade fearlessly into some very dangerous waters here. Stylish, raw, and visceral, and told with a lot of heart. And also, unfortunately, James Hudnall. I knew him. I was friends with Baton Lash, who was friends with him, and I became friendly with James. Unfortunately, he died a number of years ago. He said, very strong storytelling and graphic design skills. It doesn't pull any punches. Bosch, Fawson goes where few dare to tread. I mean, you know, these pros saying those things, it's I don't play fake humble. I don't. But it's something else to hear that. You know, you got to be confident in doing this stuff. You really do, or else you can't do it. And I hear Ethan and some others talk about guys like Eric July and some other hacks, right? that they have these massive egos, and I haven't had a chance to, I guess, discuss that with Ethan, but it's not massive egos, it's lack of egos that make them say and do what they do. It's a lack of ego, a lack of a healthy ego. So my point is that when I read these things, I'm honored. I'm not diminished. I'm not like, oh my God. No, I'm honored because I do the best work I can do. I travel down a road that, unfortunately, no other artist has taken on Islam and Jihad within a comic book and draw Muhammad to the extent that I have, over 600 times. I actually contacted the Guinness Book of World Records and mentioned, hey, at that time I drew him 300 times. And they said, we'll get back to you. It's been 5 years at this point. I've drawn him over 700 times. So, anyway, I just want to show you this back cover also. It's another take on my Winning Muhammad cartoon. But this time I have Muhammad telling me, instead of, you can't draw me, that's why I draw you, he says, please don't draw me drawing me. And I say, it's Everybody Draw Muhammad Day. And I mean everybody. And then I draw him drawing Muhammad badly. It's fun, Things like this, they're just fun to me. And again, he's become somewhat of a character of mine. I think recently at one point when Muslims were going after me, I said, you know what? Muhammad, copyright Bosch Fawston. I've drawn him so many times that I own the copyright now. As a joke, But it's fun. So yeah, guys, I have this offer today. If you buy this, it's a top my store. You buy this collection of my Mama Cartoons, Volume 1. I have a Volume 2 as well. You buy this, you can get an original Pigman drawing index card that I slipped in with it. And this one I did on Christmas. It's, again, Pigman putting on a Santa Claus hat on Muhammad and him not liking it, but not fighting back. He's submitting to it. And he has some tears in his eyes. If you see it, a little puddle in there. It's fun. I sold a number of them, so I appreciate everyone who did get them. Thank you so much. And let me go back to some of the comments, and then we'll go from there. And we'll see any other updates. But as of right now, the body count is at 15 on that massacre in New Orleans. It's at 15 at this point. And the word is, people were trying to say he's an immigrant, the dumb fuck. What's her name? Candace Owens was saying he's an immigrant maybe from Iran. She's so stupid. And then some guy says, yeah, by his name and what he did that he's involved with that country, meaning Israel. That's just retarded. It's retarded. That's where Jew hatred takes you, to believe this nonsense that somehow a Muslim convert in this country who murdered people just went after innocents in the name of Israel. Madness. Absolute madness. So let me see something quick here. Let me go check out some of the comments. Give me 1 second, guys. I just want to check this out quick. Thanks for being here, guys. I always appreciate it. Always appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you, Martin. Thank you very much. If you don't mind me calling you out. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Let's see. Got a nice amount of comments here, so I can sink my teeth into them and get some commentary and try to answer them as thoroughly as I can, guys. Okay. Eric, he says, I agree. Not exactly sure, but Amoral Fat 40 on says, did you see how Ford motor company Twitter was compromised? Yes, I did see that. Unbelievable. Nasty shit they put in there. Hating Israel, hating Jews, and they said it was some kind of mistake. Bullshit. Some scumbag there. Supposedly there's that history of Henry Ford and his anti-Semitism. Maybe there's something there, but give me 1 second, guys. I just got to do something quick. Thank you. Give me 1 second. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your patience. And let me get in this. Okay. Made in Hell says, Great warriors, wars not make one great Yoda. It's funny. Pork Hunt says, Jews are 22% of all Nobel Peace recipients, which is 110 times more than any other groups awarded, suggesting they are the GOAT. I finally figured out this is why Muslims want to F them. I mean, look, that's not why, but that's the added reason why. It's like this. The Quran wants Muslims to kill Jews more than anyone. And yeah, they want to kill infidels in general, absolutely, but there's a special hatred for Jews in the Quran, in Muhammad's doings and sayings, in the Sirah, in the Hadith. There's something about Jews that they want to kill more. And from my understanding, from my reading, is the fact that he tried to go after Jews and convert them to Islam because it was a way for him to legitimize himself, to make himself legitimate, to say, hey man, this first monotheistic religion, they came to me. So because he took from Christianity and Judaism, took from both of them. So he wanted to say, well, see, if they become Muslims, then I am the final prophet, and they bowing down to my interpretation of this Abrahamic religions. And when they rejected him thoroughly, he had a special hatred for it, because if he felt if he can make them submit, then he is legitimized. They never gave him that. They actually warned him at a certain point. He's getting a little too wild in Mecca. He said, "Look, man, you better move on. You better move along because you're getting a little too loud here with your bullshit." So he goes to Medina, and then after a while, 13 years of his peaceful proselytizing bullshit, he didn't have numbers. When he got numbers, he all of a sudden came. And how did he get numbers? He started to raid the Jewish caravans, and then came back to Mecca, conquering hero, right? And what is it? First people he killed were two critics of him in Islam, a poet and a writer, a woman and an old man. Those were the first two people that he killed. What does it say about today? And Muhammad cartoons and critics of Islam being murdered, right? Targeted. It tells you that, he wanted to kill the laughter. Islam is such a joke that it became violent in order to try to kill the laughter. That's really what it came down to. People mocked him. He sucked as a proselytizer. He had maybe 150 for years until he started raiding those caravans. And the Arabs in town were like, maybe there's something to this, And you can retain your swords. You could be an old school Arab and still, be considered a holy man. It's great. Let's do it. That was the thinking behind it. So, John says their ideology is so twisted by evil. It is. Eric says, yep, and if the rats dug in with open border, yep, across the board. I'm not sure. Sorry, the context there. I'm assuming it's about what these rats are doing. Porkon says, Quran, the disbelievers are the worst of creatures. Fight them, idiots. And idiots. Okay. The Quran says disbelievers are the worst of creatures. Fight them. And then idiots say, are Zionists behind this? Yeah. And then I got these two. I've had these arguments with friends over the years, who are atheists and like me, who left their respective religions, Judaism, two of them, right? I left Islam, they left Judaism, but two of these, and I call them idiots now because I'm no longer friends with them. I can't tolerate that kind of weakness and dishonesty. And they said, both of them said, separate occasions, years apart, with no knowledge of each other. Well, Judaism got its own jihad. I said, really? Give me the name. Give me the name of this jihad that Jews have. So I helped them. I said, is it Jihad? It's a joke, and I don't think they laughed or got the joke, but the idea is that there is no such thing as a Jewish jihad. There is no such thing as that. There is an Islamic jihad. So I resent that because it's just not the case. There's one religion where its prophet engaged in jihad, holy war. And to this day, I check it every so often, but Merriam-Webster's dictionary is rock solid when it comes to jihad. Holy war in the name of Islam. Holy war in the name of Islam. It's perfect, concise, correct, accurate. Love it. I don't know when they're going to change it. I imagine they will at a certain point because they're rats. The rats are behind that. But as of now, good. Bravo. Yep. Magic Me says LMFAO. Laugh my fucking ass off. Mega security can't make itself. I know. You read that and you're like, no, man. No. And again, they can live with the deaths of their citizens. They know that's the last security group you should ever hire for any Christmas event, ever. You know they're in on it to some extent. They might not kill, but they'll set it up so their true believer might kill. Because again, keep in mind that however peaceful Muslims are, right? We don't see them object to people getting their heads off for John Muhammad or for Show Muhammad cartoons like that French teacher. They don't object to it. How many Muslims objected to us being almost killed in Garland? Nothing. The only thing I remember was after they couldn't kill me, they tried to kill my online presence online. They tried to wipe me off of Facebook, which they did. And then Pamela Geller caused some noise and they got it back. By the way, my Facebook account is dead now. I can't log in. Like, fuck it. I have about 12,000 followers there. Hey, it's always going to happen. I always get, when there's some kind of spotlight on me, these rats just come after me. Hickory Farms Meat Stick writes, I was hoping it was Mecca Security, MECHA. Hickory Farms writes, traffic bollards apiece. Do you mean bollards? Al Nickerson says, can you explain what you meant by alleged deviant form of Islam? Okay. Are you referring to so-called moderate Muslims? If so, are moderate Muslims not obedient Muslims? Thanks. Yeah. First of all, there's no such thing as moderate Muslims or extremist Muslims. They're just Muslims. They're devout Muslims. And they're lax Muslims. That's it. And there's Islam, period. There's no moderate form of Islam. There's no extremist form of Islam. When people talk about, and if I don't answer this thoroughly, call me on it, Al. I'll try to be a little more clear. But yeah, alleged deviant forms. This is what some friends of mine, some objectivists, some conservatives, liberals clearly, and leftists, of course, where they tell us that no. This is a deviant form of Islam, like that piece of shit H.R. Masterson, which Trump unfortunately hired in his first administration, a piece of shit former general who said, no, ISIS has nothing to do with Islam. It's a complete lie. It's a complete lie. ISIS are true believers. They're acting on behalf of Islam. They're acting by the word of Allah, by the word of Muhammad. They're acting in that. They're not deviating. They're not acting against it. They're not going against it. He was trying to say that they're going against it because Islam is peaceful. It's a lie. So I can get into it, but yeah, it's the more devout the Muslim, the more dangerous the Muslim. The more devout, the more physically harmful, the more lethal they are. The less devout, the less Islamic they are. I know many passive Muslims. I got cousins still. To this day, they still text me here and there. They're Muslims, right? What kind of Muslims are they? As passive as can be. They live in America, and whatever they claim, sometimes I remind them of what their religion, calls for. They don't want to hear it, but they can claim what they want. But they're human beings first and foremost. They're Americans first and foremost, and they're not Muslim in any way that Islam would recognize them. Good for me, good for them. But they will lie about it. They will pretend that they're devout. They might go to mosque every so often. I don't know. I'm not in touch with my family, so I don't know. But they do text me every so often, out of the blue, which is fine. I got no problem. I know them. I know they're decent people, regardless of their affiliation with Islam, even though I know it's half-assed. I know that. I know they're passive. So give me a minute. So yeah, Al, if you want to follow up, let me know if that's thorough enough, because I can go on. Believe me, I can go on about this. I know too much about Islam and jihad. I read too many books, too many articles. I know more than I ever wanted to know. I can't stand this disgusting thing I got to deal with, but I have to. Anyway, Porkgun says, could your new number one include a variant that is complete recreation of Captain America Comics number one? Hey, man, maybe. Instead of Hitler, Muhammad, Pigman, that could be something. I have drawn a few times Pigman punching Muhammad the way Captain America punches. That's something to think about. Pork Hunt. I'm going to jot down a note because I don't want to make too many covers, to be honest. I don't want to. It's my first one, but let me just jot that down because it's something that people might be interested in. 1 second, guys. I haven't been asked that. I haven't even thought of that. I think because I've drawn it before. I've drawn it a few times before, but this could be a real recreation of it. Like, of course, in my style, but the original Jack Kirby cover, Joe Simon, Jack Kirby, 1941, December. Think about that also. I believe it came out prior to Pearl Harbor getting hit, so, there was enough rumbling in America to know what was going on. But Pigman recreation of Cap 1, something to think about for alt cover. Maybe. I like the idea. Thanks. Tim says, got to get some sleep. Have a good night, everyone. Good night, Tim. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I always appreciate the give and take in here, guys. Make comic books great again. Says Shooter saved Marvel in the 80s 100%. He saved it in the 70s. Because that's when he came in. On the tail end of the 70s. I think 77, 78. He was not convinced that adapting Star Wars was a good deal until I think Roy Thomas pushed it. And he convinced him. And he said he was right. And he was right, clearly. I mean, those comics were really good. A lot of them were good. The Walt Simonson issues were fantastic. Carmine Infantino, I hear he's a great artist. I hear he's a great classic. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know if he drew. Let's just say I don't think he drew the way I draw, which is on an angle that's almost 90 degrees, almost. You can see everything there, right? He must have drawn, and I'm just saying this because he must have drawn on a flat table because everyone looks flat and wide, like pie faces. It's just a fact. Look at those Star Wars comics. Everyone looks wide-faced, weird, and their bodies are wide. He must have drawn on a flat table and looking down at it without looking basically up against it. You should draw. If that, usually your head's like this. At least you draw from that angle. I think you drew on a flat table. That way, just my assumption. I just didn't like the results. I thought it was bad. But Shooter, look, he has a lot of heat, a lot of bullshit about him, from John Byrne to all these other, even though Frank Miller was, if he was ever unkind to him over the years, he's been kind to him. Very kind to him. And I think they even met up at one of these places. So Jim Shooter is great. He's great, and he's a great writer. I mean, he started writing comics at 13 years old. I mean, think about that. His family was broke. He was a kid in, I think, Pittsburgh, and sent in some scripts. They liked him, bought them, and then they wanted to talk to him, and they called the house, the number that was listed. His mother answered, or he answered, maybe, and then they said, wait a minute, is this Jim Shooter? And said, let me speak to your mother. I think that's what it was. And they realized they're dealing with a 13-year-old kid. Like, holy shit. And they're worried about, I guess, kids being paid, underpaid, whatever, abusing them. And they had them come to D.C. with his mother, to D.C. Comics in Manhattan. They did. And he created Parasite. I mean, think about that. Parasite, to me, is an all-time great villain. All-time great villain. He's disgusting and great. He was a nasty villain in the Superman cartoon. Remember the, I don't know what it's called, the Superman animated show or the Avengers Superman? It was really good. It was the same people who made the Batman animated cartoon. Paul Dini and Bruce Timm. And Parasite in there was great. He was a nasty villain. He loved it. He loved the fact that he was having this power. He can suck the energy from Superman, tied him up, and kept going in there and just using him as a power source to get replenished. Nasty. And the version that Frank Whiteley drew in All Star Superman was great also. Nasty. Just a big parasite, disgusting, with teeth for a mouth. He just had like a hole with some teeth in it. And Jim Shooter created that when he was young. I mean, it's awesome. And then, of course, Secret Wars. That's the thing that got me into comics. My brother brought it home. My older brother used to get some comics and brought it home. And that was it for me. I was hooked. I was like, holy shit, this is everyone here. From Spider-Man to X-Men to Captain America to the Avengers to Iron Man to the Fantastic Four. Fighting all their villains. It's like, what the hell? And it was really well done. Especially that first issue. It's like, Mike Zeck, he has a tendency to give his all in the first issue or two, and then it tends to get a little looser by the end. He did that with the Punisher series as well. He's a great artist. I mean, Mike Zeck's great. Right now, I'm rereading his Captain America run after reading John Burns, Roger Stern and John Burns run, which was really good too. I'm just reading Captain America right now. I'm enjoying it. Jim Shooter was the greatest. I mean, he was the greatest editor-in-chief, hands down. When he was there, you got Walt Simonson doing Thor, which I'm reading now as well. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. I mean, he was doing that. John Byrne was doing it from X-Men to Fantastic Four to Alpha Flight to the Hulk under him. Frank Miller, Daredevil. Guys were being unleashed and allowed to do these incredible runs, years-long runs under his guidance. And again, he has a lot of shit, and then he tried to do the new universe, and he basically, right when he was about to launch it, Marvel told him, you don't have any money for this. He had to battle the hires up year after year after year. He had to battle them hard. They were trying to sell the company without his knowledge and others, and he was trying to protect the talent. I know people will lie about it to this day, but the guy's, I think he's a Boy Scout. I do. I really do. Check out these interviews with him. There was a 7-hour interview he did a little while back with a comic historian, I think. I might be wrong. I don't know what the channel was, but there's something about him. And he was talking about something about Howard Chaykin and him were at loggerheads. They were going at it over a cover for James Bond, A View to a Kill. And he drew it wrong on the cover, and Jim Shooter was trying to tell him that, and he wouldn't take it. He thought it was interference and all that, and Jim Shooter said he was dead wrong. And the guy said, well, maybe, his truth, and he goes, no. And I clipped that little moment. I got it in my files. Maybe someone asked me at a certain point, and I'll let you see it, but I love the way he said it, and it was a Ditko-esque type, very black and white, very clear thinking about it. Good versus evil, right and wrong. There's no middle ground when it comes to certain things. There just isn't. He said he was completely wrong, and I don't want to, and this guy was trying to say, well, maybe he was right a little and you were right a little, and the truth is in the middle. Bullshit. A lot of times that's just not true. It's just not true. Sometimes it is with two honest people, at least. They can have an honest disagreement about something, and then one realizes that, and he's honest enough to say, okay, you were right about that. These are some bad actors doing these things. So I loved it. Check it out. It's a few years ago. And I caught wind that Marvel was going to do a Secret Wars adaptation, a loose adaptation, I guess, with the Russo brothers years ago when Jim Shooter was talking about it, because he said, out of the blue, you got a $10,000 check. And he realized, I think they're doing a Secret Wars adaptation. They want to be nice about it, I guess, legally, I guess, right? It's like, remember we gave you 10,000? Okay, we're doing this. It was your story. It was under work for hire. It's Marvel characters, but here's $10,000. It is your story. And that story was fantastic. Whatever else anyone thinks about it, it was the birth of it. I think they were trying to make toys, and then he built this story around the idea of, I think, Kenner toys. But it's great. And it's one of the best, if not the greatest, Doctor Doom story. Doctor Doom ends up being the main character in there. It's awesome. It's awesome. And the story for Secret Wars 2, I think, was good. It couldn't be executed by Al Milgrom. He fucked it up. He's not a great artist at all. He's mediocre. The only thing he had going for him was that Steve Lealoha, I think, added some little different finish to his art, but it's still Al Milgrom's art, which is terrible. His anatomy sucks. His composition, his faces. Sal Buscema was supposed to draw that. It would have been 10 times better. I would have loved if Charlie May Jr. did that, but, because I think it would have uplifted the story. It would have lived up to the story. Because Beyonder goes through a whole lot of things in there. This omnipotent being coming into Earth and cloning Captain America's body for his own body. And then, he was distinguishing himself by giving himself a black perm, which was hilarious. And he wore, like, Michael Jackson clothing. Anyway, it could be some of it could be cheesy, but still, it's it's good stuff. And it's a good story. I will stand by that, even though the art diminished it. So, Jim Shooter's tenor at Marvel was its best. It was. The guy's great. The guy was all-time great. A great writer, great editor. And his Valiant books were fantastic. Defiant was fantastic. People say, oh, well, they weren't that good. They were. And then, of course, the companies, they sold the companies under him and stole it from him, and he had to start his own company again. And I just wish he had a third act, a fourth act maybe even, because he's one guy who I think I reached out to him, and that's how I got him the Pigman comic, and he liked it. He liked issue 1. He used to have his blog. I think he got some pushback from some of the rats like John Byrne, something, because loved John Byrne, great artist, and a better writer than I remember rereading his stuff. But he's an asshole, absolute asshole, a bitter fuck. I couldn't stand being on his, website. He was such a nasty fuck, so prickly. It's like, what the hell, man? You got people here, they admire you. Can you be at least somewhat respectful to them instead of biting their heads off for the most absolute smallest infractions, or weren't even infractions? Maybe they didn't understand something. Anyway, and I think he went after Shooter, and Shooter stopped his blogging, which sucked because they were really good. I think he felt burnt out again. He's like, okay, I'm trying to go out there again, and I get all this shit. So, and I don't like to see him as a victim, but he was victimized. He absolutely was by the higher ups in Marvel. And he gets and the rat commies at Comics Journal, saw him as like the devil, and they rocked him. I don't think they ever interviewed him. If they did, it was a hostile one, but give the man his chance to speak. I don't want to hear your communist vision of Jim Shooter. The guy's great. He's great. I love Jim Shooter. Hindu Saffron Tiger, great work, Vosh. Thank you. I'm assuming you're referring to some of the stuff that I was shown. Make comic books great again says, I got mine. Looks extremely interesting. You got what? MCBGA. You got some work from me? If you did, let me know. My sketchbook 340 says it would have been worse. He had explosives. Yeah. Yes. It would have been worse. Yes. I already ran people, shot people, and then he got shot. My sketchbook 340 says Candace is a grifter. She is 100%. She doesn't believe half stuff she says. I believe that as well. But I also believe she is evil enough to say these terrible things because what she says is evil. And it doesn't matter if she does it out of ignorance or knowledge. What she says is evil. It is. She became an hardcore anti-Semite after the worst attack Israel ever got hit with. It's like, great timing, Candace. What a piece of shit. Anyway, Porkun says the news are now referring to him as an army veteran. Yep. Yes, they are. Supposedly he was in the military and born and raised here in Texas, but he is a recent convert. Keep it in mind as well. Magic Me says, Bosch, check out the history of Dearborn. Henry Ford was the one who imported tons of Muslims to the U.S. as cheap labor. Ugh. A long-term plan to fuck with the Jews. Wouldn't be shocked. That is his reputation. Oh, man. And you know what? You look at Dearborn. It's Dearbornistan, they call it, with good reason. It's like they've taken over the entire city and more or less the state, Michigan. Eric Hellickson said, "Didn't the one army fellow light himself up?" Yeah, a bit ago for Palestine. Yes, he did. Another guy did it as well outside of one of the court cases that they were trying to railroad Trump in. I think he also did it for quote unquote Palestine. It's like, guys, you know, anyone who wants to burn themselves to death is a imbecile. It's retard. I mean, hands down, morally retarded. But for what? For a quote unquote Palestine? For a terrorist wannabe state? Sick. Yes, Mitch Solomon says all the Nobels are an added humiliation. Exactly. That's the thing. Muslims are taught to hate Jews from birth. I was taught to hate Jews. I had Muslim family members who loved Hitler, who said, why they loved Hitler? Because he killed more Jews than anyone. They admired him. This is a moderate Muslim family in the Bronx, New York, in America. So, exactly, Mr. Solomon, because they hate Jews. They're raised to hate Jews. The Quran tells them hate Jews, right? And if you ever forgot that the Islam hates Jews, the Quran reminds you at a certain point where it suggests that the Quran or the Hadith or the Sirah, one or the other, one of those three, one of the, whatever they call it, I don't know. Anyway, one of those suggests the idea that he was killed by a Jewish woman. He was poisoned by a Jewish woman. Think about that. He was killed by a Jewish woman, which is, just a way for them to remind people. If you hate Jews, if you forgot that we're supposed to hate Jews, a Jew killed Muhammad. Huh? Another prophet killer, Anyway. So yeah, and also Israel, right? Not only is it the idea of course, in Islam is once they in their Islamic colonialism, which is what it is, Islamic imperialism, which is what it is across the Islamic world, right? They fancy the idea that they own the earth. So we are here, we are interlopers, we don't belong here. And we were all born Muslim according to Islam. Don't forget that as well. We were all born Muslim, right? That's their conceit. And on top of that, Israel they had a lot of Muslims there, so therefore they owned the land. Therefore, when Israel was actually birthed, it was going in the face of the Islamic idea that Islam owns the land. Now it's owned by Jews, and it's, saved by Jews. And that little strip of sand land basically was made into this oasis. And that's another factor that the Jews can go in there and create a far advanced, far morally superior country than any of the savage countries around them. That's another point. That adds to their humiliation. That's another point. So yeah, Ms. Solomon. Porcon says Muhammad hates Jews because they wouldn't legitimize him as a prophet. Yes. And again, to him, it was the original OG, monotheistic religion. It was the original one, and then Christianity, and then Islam. So he figured, if I can get them to bow to me, then I can go before the Christians and say, hey, I'm the real shit. It's all me, and you guys are all Muslim, and I'm in charge of it all. That's the idea. So yeah, Hickory Farms Meat Stick. Hickory Farms. That's some kind of group there. Have you ever talked to Leonarda Joni? She has Albanian heritage and no filter. Doesn't sound familiar with the name. I've come across a lot of people over the years. Some people come and go in the anti-Jihad movement, anti-Islam movement. They do. A lot of resentment going on. People who, for some reason or other, condemn me, come back and say, oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. I just keep going. That's all. So maybe I have. I don't know. My sketchbook 340 says it's actually far older. What's far older? Muhammad's wife was Catholic. He was shown the teachings of Saint Augustine. The current day Quran was written 200 years after Muhammad. That's the thing. Look, it's all up in the air. Whether Muhammad even lived is up in the air. To us, to those who want to study, right? His history. It doesn't matter though. Because it's what Muslims believe. It's all about what they believe. They believe Muhammad existed. They believe he said this, so it doesn't matter ultimately. And Muhammad had a number of, concubines and wives, and some were from the Jewish Banu Qurayza tribe that he slaughtered all their men and took their children and their women. He had women that were technically Jewish, even though I guess he forced them to convert. So yeah, a lot of it is up in the air in terms of the history of it. But again, ultimately it doesn't matter because Muslims believe it's true. Now, one thing we should do is try to, as a culture, the West, try to put a little crack in that. Try to shatter their faith, ultimately. That's what we need to do today. Question everything about their own religion. To question the existence of Muhammad, ultimately. But we're not there. I mean, we're not there. Many people on the right aren't good enough to be ruthless in this war on any ground. Not even in words, much less deeds. Porkin says his protest was fry Palestine. He fried himself. That's what his audio sounded like as he burned. It was called them rats. It was when you call them rats and how I relate to how they dug in the Philippines. Sorry guys, maybe you're having a conversation with yourselves. Apologize. I lost the context. Trevor says, why is it atheists that are so wound around the axles with Christians are so tolerant to Muslims? I don't exactly get your meaning, but do you mean the atheists are pretty... I mean, look, I've known objectivist atheists who have been very ginger around the issue of Islam, like walking on eggshells. Why? I don't know why. That was the first crack in my respect for any kind of objectivist movement post 9/11. I was like, what the hell are you guys talking about? Islamic totalitarianism? What the hell is that? That doesn't mean shit. It's your way of not saying Islam. Why would a secular philosophy, those who follow it, worry about condemning a religion, much less, the worst religion of all? That was a revelation to me. It was like, and that was that, and then of course COVID and the response to that, and I don't give a shit for movements in general. I don't care if they're even movements that I agree with ultimately, like objectivism. Any kind of group, it's going to get corrupted. It would seem, Trevor says, it would seem that atheists would focus on the religious selves first. Yes, they should. And Christians are overly tolerant to the point where, some of them will try to say, well, it's like Tucker Carlson, the idiot, is in the United Arab Emirates, right, making a speech amongst Muslims and saying it doesn't matter, what our religions are. It's just that if you sincerely believe it. What an asshole. What an asshole. He's another guy who post 10/7 went full-blown, Jew hater. Not like the idiotic Candace Owens who's stupid. He's devious. He does it in a much less obvious way where he only has guests on who trash Israel for him, who speak, who are saying things that he'd love to say, but he's like, I can't get away with that right now. I have this semi-respectable reputation, so I'll have these guys do it for me. It's nasty. It's very ugly. But yeah, he did that. He pulled that same shit. Christians also, some of them come to me, and over the years, they used to come to me and say, Islam is not a religion, after I call it religion. And I had to write a whole article about it. It's in one of my books, I don't know which one it is. It's in one of my books, Peaceful Death Threats by Muhammad Cartoons, Volume 1, 2, or Islam Bitches. But it's in one of those. And that title is Islam is a Religion. And I make the case. Those who flew the planes into the towers were not doing it for any other reason than the fact that they believed that they were flying into paradise. They're not doing it for secular reasons. They're not doing it for political reasons. They're not doing it because they want to change things on earth. They want to do it because they want to fly right into paradise. That's why. It was as much an act of faith as it was an act of war, 9/11, and all these horrific acts. So they get sued about it. Christians get sued about it. Jews get sued about it. Even some Jews used to write me sometimes. They haven't done it in a while, but they said, "Hey, why Pigman? Change it." It's like, first of all, you're presumptuous as hell to tell me to change my character. You may not like pigs. You may not like to eat pork. or bacon or anything, right? Muslims hate it to extreme measures where they're willing to murder over it. You guys don't. So you might not like it. You might not like Pigman. He might not be the most appealing hero to you, but these guys want to murder over it. So, and it's a matter of degree. They hate it, you know, homicidally. You guys just don't like it. So, but it was very presumptuous on some of these people who wrote me over the years. I was like, first of all, who are you to tell me that? You create your own character. But it's perfect to me. It's you know, and again, a part of me was like, I assumed people were going to create versions of Pigman, wild boar Pigman and stuff I mentioned before, but it never came to be. It never came to be. It was just, to me, it was just spot on. Pigman exploit the Islamic enemy's bigotry. To exploit the Islamic enemy's bigotry. It's funny and it's true. Eric says Fry looked like one that would hold up a Free Palestine flag while his gay uncle gets beaten for wearing lipstick. You talking about the guy who set himself on fire? I assume. Richard Dawkins has changed his attitude. Porkun says that. Now, in terms of Richard Dawkins, whatever attitude he may have had before this, now he was such an asshole not that long ago. He was asked about the attack on Salman Rushdie a few summers ago, where unfortunately, it was not, the security sucked. Maybe he got a little passive over the years, but they got to him. They almost murdered him. He lost an eye. They got him pretty bad, but he survived it. And Dawkins was asked about it. He wouldn't answer about it. No, I'm not going to say anything. No, because he was afraid. That's a gutless turd right there. I mean, we're in a war of ideas here. First and foremost, whatever else comes after, because again, if we can tell the truth about the enemy openly, honestly, on mainstream platforms, just now, the end of jihad is coming right around the corner. That means if it becomes mainstream, that means movies will be done against jihadists, comic books, more comic books than mine. Culturally, we would say we're fed up with this shit. This is medieval. We got to end this shit now. That's part of it. And, you know, Richard Dawkins is not doing his part. You know, he's a gutless turd. A coward. Trevor says the tolerance of lefties, feminists, and the rainbow people for Islam is baffling to me. Yeah, it's sickening. Yeah, especially homosexuals. I mean, they literally get thrown off buildings because they're gay. At the same time, you got Muslims practicing homosexuality, you know, in the Islamic world. And they have their ashnas in Afghanistan. They have other ones in Pakistan. You know, ashnas are the young boys that these straight guys have on the side. And so long as they're quote unquote pitching, they're not gay. You know, it's pedophilia. It's sick. But yeah, so they hate homosexuality while they practice it. Not all of them, but there is a tradition at this point. Pretty sick. Porkun says Islamists say we love death, yet they still bother us all with their existence. Yeah. And again, that's a line. That's a line they say. They think it's a cool line, right? We love death. You love life. We love death. No, they hate life. That's the truth. And they're cowards in the face of life. And they think that if I say I love death, I sound harder. Yeah. No, they're gutless turds. They're in the face of life. A piece of shit. Porkun says hostage diplomacy must stop. Yeah. Al says, got it. Thanks for sharing, Bosch. Thanks, Al. I can elaborate more. Again, I've learned more than I ever wanted to learn about this horrific ideology and its true believers. Disgusting. But this is an evil that has to be fought. And again, has to be fought culturally, intellectually, has to be fought by word and then deed. Because again, if we can never speak the truth about it, if we can't declare this a war on jihad, at least jihad will go on, and it has gone on. 115 people this week across the world. You know, last week on Christmas, right around Christmas, the German attack, New Orleans tonight, last night, early this morning. Porkun says Jesus, who was totally Muslim, used to drink wine every week. Yeah, well, you know, Muslims claim that all the prophets were Muslim. That Abraham, Moses, Jesus, all of the prophets were Muslim. All prophets are Muslim. But the final prophet, the greatest of all prophets, was Muhammad. John says the modern world is full of weak men. It sure is. It sure is. We just the quote unquote good guys aren't good enough to take on evil, not by word and not by deed. Again, it has to be. Let me show you something quick. I'll be right back. This is the first print appearance of Pigman, 2009. I published this after Table for One. Propaganda, if you look close at the Twin Towers behind the eye. Propaganda, red, white, and blue. Drawing a line against Jihad in colors of a pencil, drawing. Pigman, the icon against Jihad. Never, 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 never submit. And this was, look at this. The inside, front, and back cover. The inside, front, and back cover are the victims of 9/11. Nearly 3,000 people. You know, you look close. Again, that's why I do what I do. And here's what I was gonna mention. The opening says, "To those who say what must be done, they lead the way for those who will do what must." Sorry, I'm sorry, guys. I botched it. To those who say what must be said. I got this damn glare. To those who say what must be said, they lead the way for those who will do what must be done. That's the point. That's the point. Because people talk about the military aspect. Fine. But where has that gotten us? If our soldiers, the best fighting force on earth, can't be unleashed on the savages, what good is it? What good are they? And I'm not diminishing the soldiers, unlike that piece of shit Dick Masterson did. We went at it back and forth because he was calling them like pieces of shit and like holding them accountable for our government's decades of not wanting to fight the jihad. You know, and he's trying to accuse him of all these atrocities. It's like, what the hell? So we went at it back and forth for a few times. I called him Suck Dick Masterson at a certain point. And I've stopped. I think he made some video with me, like he put my face with a mouth, and his fat boyfriend, the guy Vito, was yapping away, pretending he was me to say how much I love our soldiers in sexual ways. But the point is, it's not our soldiers. These are noble men and women, especially post 9/11, who said, we have to take on these savages. And they got these recruits of these actual patriots. And what did they do, our government? Treated them like shit. Didn't allow them to be what they could be. Didn't allow them to run roughshod over these savages and wipe them out. They didn't allow them to do that. That's a problem. And that's the intellectual aspect. If you can't tell the truth about jihad, when you say Islam is peace, hey soldiers, go out there and kill those extremists. No, there's a problem. And it's not a point to say kill all Muslims. Of course not. That's retarded. It's stupid. Kill the true believers. And believe me, whatever quote unquote moderate Muslims there will be a lot more once you kill all the true believers. A lot more quote unquote moderate Muslims. A lot more passive Muslims, a lot more Muslims not willing to go jihad because they'll be scared shit. They'll be far more fearful of engaging in jihad than they are of Allah, of telling them you must engage in jihad, because if you don't, I will, condemn you. There'll be far more. Just again, this live stream has gotten longer. We've gotten longer, which I always appreciate. But I got to get going myself. I got a few things to do. But I just want to mention this is this live stream was meant to close out my 24-hour offer to sell my Muhammad Cartoons Volume 1. And if you buy this, you get a Muhammad original Muhammad drawing index card by me, signed, done with the brushwork. So I'll mention that one last time, and then let me finish your questions, and then I do got to get going. But thanks for being here, guys. I do appreciate it. Eric says, love Jack Kirby stuff. Me too. Niece almost got me to buy the figure of him. There's a figure of Jack. Is there a bust of him? Love Jack Kirby. I mean, reread the Fantastic Four recently with Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. I mean, just it's great, absolutely great. And he got better. You know, one thing also, he got better and better and better. You look at his art in the first 10 issues and his last 10. I mean, we're talking about a different planet. You know, it's incredible. By the time that even the Silver Surfer, in the middle of their run, issue 48, 49, 50, look at that also. And Joe Sinnott, when he came aboard, that was it. It was like, okay, we just absolutely clicked. And it was as slick as Kirby can get, even though Kirby was just by nature rough. He wasn't. He didn't draw pretty boys and pretty women necessarily. You know, his women were attractive, but Reed Richards was very heroic and stuff, but he didn't have that finish the way John Romita Sr. did in terms of the heroes. But there's no one like Jack Kirby. I mean, and again, my Alex Toth is the greatest comic book artist of all time, and I'm making the case in my video series. Check it out on my channel, on my YouTube channel. I'm up to 18, I believe 18 or 19 episodes of that series. I'll be going to at least 30 because I got a number of books to go through. And right now, I went through all the interviews and all the, I guess all the people talking about him over the years. But now I'm going through the art books, and it's not much talk for me in this aspect of the series. But I'll be mentioning what I love and and so on. But now it's just showing the work. Basically, it was telling, and now it's showing. Show and tell, but this is the opposite. It was telling, and now it's showing. Porkut says, include the same fonts design for the cover and colors. Yeah, for the Captain America, I mean, absolutely. It would be like that. That's the thing. If I do that, it will be. And also, it'll have that older quality. Like, sometimes you get these artists who make these homages to the old comics, and there's like a parchment look about it. A slightly yellowing of the paper. Something about it. I think Paulo Rivera does things like that sometimes. It's really, really nice. The color is really, it's beautiful. I love it. It's very desaturated, and I don't know, it's nice. So yeah, if I do it, it'll be a clear replica of that, but of course it'll be Pigman and Muhammad instead of Hitler and Captain America, and a few guys behind some jihadists instead of Nazis. Porkun says Captain America #1 sold millions of copies, so helped stir the public on to put pressure on the government. Absolutely, no doubt. Things like that. He's an icon, and it does propel the culture. It does. There's nothing like telling the truth in an engaging, entertaining, in-your-face way. Nothing like it. And that's why movies are very, very useful. I think Churchill said something, Miss Minerva. He said it was more effective than tanks. I think that movie. I think that's what he said. At least that's according to some people. It's important art. Porkun says, Carmine Infantino illustrated Flash, but I preferred Ross Andrew. I've seen some of those Flash things, and I've seen some of his early Batman stuff. Not bad. It's just that when he got later, I don't know if it was eyesight or drawing on a flat table without, looking at it from a certain angle. Everything looked wide, weirdly wide. Everyone looked like a MODOK. It was very strange. Make comic books great again. Said the Superman Flash race is iconic. Shooter. Yeah, was that Shooter? Did Shooter write that? I mean, if so, that's amazing. That's amazing. It is iconic. Also drew the Legion of Superheroes. Sorry, he wrote the Legion of Superheroes. He wrote Superboy. He wrote Superman. Introduced the Parasite again. It's a nasty but great villain. Very unique. Very unique. Porkun says, I had a Muslim attack me online that I'm not a nice Jew. I told him he'd have to cope as his brothers killed all the nice ones. That's right. Yep. They killed all the nice Jews. Porkun says, Shooter had hit after hit at Valiant. He did. He absolutely did. And again, this modern criticism, like, well, the art was very generic. It's not. Hey, you got Barry Wintersmith doing, what was it? Archer and Armstrong. You had, what's his name? The alien, the Conan type barbarian character getting this super suit. You had Solar. You had Magnus, a robot fighter. Really, really good, and the art was good. A number of them, yeah. Some of the older generic artists, it's fine. But Ditko was going off. I mean, he was doing his thing. It was really, really good, and crashed and burned, unfortunately. But it was giving a real dent in the market against Marvel DC, and I think that's why they had to ultimately destroy him. He wasn't. He didn't make a lot of friends, and he didn't. I don't think he had that. I don't think that was his thing. He wanted to make good comics. He wanted to make good comics, and he did. And he wrote the bulk of those comics, the bulk of them. And then Defiant, with even Warriors of Plasm. It's really, really good. If you haven't read that, it's really good. Check it out, guys. And you have Dave Lapham doing that. Prior to Stray Bullets, he did the Warriors of Plasm. And they even, I think, wrote it after Shooter was gone. And it was good. It was really good and very strange and very unique. Very good. Parkin says, once you finish Zek's cap run, you should follow with Mark Greenwald's run up to 350. Kieran Dwyer kills it. Kieran Dwyer is a great artist. Mark Greenwald, I wasn't crazy about him as a writer. Those stories are pretty forgettable to me. Cap Wolf and all that, Might be some good ones in there. There was one where he had to shoot a guy and it was like ended a world for him. It's like, no, you had to do that. He was shooting a whole crowd of innocent people. Of course you had to shoot him. You're a super soldier. Are you not? Did you kill Nazis? Why are you, crying about it? It's like, that's Mark Greenwald doing it. But Kieran Dwyer is a great artist. A legitimately great artist. I mean, he's, check out his Riddler annual that he did for Batman with Chuck Dixon. Really good. Really good. He wrote and penciled it, I believe. Sorry, he penciled and inked it, I believe, and Chuck wrote it. Chuck Dixon wrote it. Diane. Hello, Diane. Hello, Bosch. Happy New Year. May 2025 be a fabulous year for you. Looking forward to your inaugural crowdfunding launch. To everyone on this stream, let's help our friend Bosch be successful. Thanks, Diana. I do appreciate your support. And thank you so much. Happy New Year to you as well. Porcon says, I think comic book historian died last year. He did, but I'm thinking I might be thinking about someone else. Because the guy didn't look the same, but it was something else, a different name. Yes, that's right. Porcon says, Al Milgram's art was great on Captain Marvel directly after Jim Starlin left, so hard to know what happened. Okay, so you're saying basically that his art was good and then it sucked, and you agree that it sucked after? Maybe. Even when he was inked by Jim Mooney, Jim Mooney, that's a whole different story. He made everyone look like him with it's something about a brush. I love brush work. I use brushes. You can't dominate. He dominated that. He made everyone look like him. It's like, I get it. Klaus Janson does that to some extent, but not good. Not good. I have to see that because there were elements of Kitty and Wolverine that weren't bad, but I think he was pretending he was Frank Miller. It's like, you're not Frank. You're AM. He's FM. You're AM radio, and Frank is FM radio. It's two different things, two different worlds, at least at that point. But I don't know if I've seen that, so I might check it out. I know he was a decent inker. I know that. At times he was a pretty good inker. But man, his penciling was terrible. He just undermined everything. Every script he drew just made it look bad. He gave a bad face to these scripts. It's like having a bad actor play a great script. It's impossible. He can't deliver the great script and let us know that it's a great script unless you really pay attention. You can say, man, it is a great script, but my God, that actor destroyed it. We just think, oh my God, the actor destroyed it, or it sucked. John Porton says, do we know when we might launch? I know you mentioned January. January for sure. Again, I want to get everything settled. I believe it's Fund My Comic. That's one I've been I'm setting up the page on there. I got my video on there. I got my a few things in there. The covers, I want to make them, as good as they can be and very different than the other. And I'm thinking about that one that you mentioned, Pork Hunt. Something to consider. Something to consider. So I got to spend a number of days getting that ready, and then I think I can go from there. So this month for sure. Don't know exactly when. Hopefully soon, sooner than later. But thanks for asking. Miss Solomon says Candace is solo. She sure is. She is. She sucks. On top of that, she's so dishonest. Ugh. Just asking questions. Ugh, I can't stand that. It's such a dirty way to go about things. I'm just asking questions. The innocent. Trey says missed out on the Pigman reprints. Is the hardcover collected coming soon? Not reprints. Well, I mean, I sold out a number of times of, so I've had to reprint them. But I'm not. The only thing I have left right now is 4 issue number 2s of the old Pigman comic, and 1 of issue 1. That's the only ones that I have now. But I don't know. People might not be willing to buy them because it's 4 of issue 2, 1 of issue 1. There's no issue 3s left, 0. But I'm starting Trey. I'm relaunching Pigman number 1 as a crowdfund. I'll be starting my crowdfund campaign this month. I got to get a few things in order and then do that. But yeah, there are no more printed versions of Pigman from here on out until the relaunch. Issue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6. We will see at a certain point. By issue 3, it'll be all new material. Issue 1 will be issue 1 and 2 with new material in there, moments expanded, remastered. That's the only word I can think of. Relettered, maybe even some stuff in there. I might do that because I hand wrote the lettering for issue 1 and 2, and then did all digital for issue 3. I was still figuring out at that point, but I hand lettered all my cartoons and comics for years, and I liked it. But I'm like, you know what? I'd rather spend more time doing work instead of just tediously writing it. And after a while, wow, it hurts. It physically hurts. Lettering 80 pages of graphic novel, 30 pages, 50 pages, after a while, it's like, damn. So I'll just type it in, figure out a way to do it as good as I can. I'm not as good as somebody at professional letters. Clearly, I'm not as good at colorists as some of these guys are, but I want to do it all. I write pencil, ink, letter, color. I do it all. And there's something about having that full vision that I love. I love in other artists and in my own work. It's mine. Every line is mine. It's important to me. It stands on me. It's all on me. Jim Steranko was a nice guy. Was a nice guy. Eric? Is that past tense? Because Jim seems pretty fun, a cool guy. I hope he didn't pass away. I just saw him posting the all day on X. I follow him. Hey, henchman, it's hilarious. He's very alive. I mean, I hope that's not the case. But Porkman says, I believe Candace is getting paid by Qatar. Look, wouldn't put anything past her. I think she's a whore. She'll do anything. She'll say anything. So in that sense, she's an absolute whore, like any politician. She's she'll say anything for a buck and for clicks. Smith Solomon says that second guy only lit his arm on fire. That's right. That's what it was. Yes. What a half-assed. What a half-armed, half body. It was so embarrassing. Oh my God. And he was a photographer. He tried to make it an epic. It was just, he clearly set up the whole camera and stuff and tried to make it epic, and it bombed. It bombed. And he probably lost his arm now. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, it's terrible. Idiot. Pork Hunt says Muslims can't cope with Jews not being their dhimmis. Yeah, they're according to Muslims, they see them as uppity, right? That's how they see them. He was only 15% Muslim. Eric, who are you talking about? Not Steranko, the second guy. I'm not sure. All right, guys, I'm gonna be going soon, but I'm gonna answer them and then get going. Abash, what do you think normal people can do to stop further attacks and Islamization in the U.S.? As I always say, tell the truth again and again and again and again and again. Tell the truth at all times, whenever you can, to the extent that you can, on your any platforms. And again, you don't have to, I've seen people like, fuck Islam, fuck Jihad, fuck, Muhammad, and fuck Allah. That's fine. But usually that repels people more than gets them interested. I mean, I put sometimes fuck Islam, but my point is you got to be a little more rounded out about that. You better have some knowledge. You can't just, you should do your homework and share your knowledge. And once you have the knowledge, you won't find yourself doing those cheap bursts of fuck this, fuck that. It doesn't really, again, it repels most people. Tell them the truth, though. That's the key to winning this war, because, again, if we tell the truth, then we can act on it. You can't act on lies and win, because that's what we've been doing for 20 years, ever since 9/11. We're acting on lies. We're acting on lies that most Muslims are fine, just a few extremists, and it's not the religion. It's some deviant form of it. Lies. Absolute lies. And again, until Muslims condemn these savages, to me, they put themselves in the enemy camp. They have. They have put themselves in the enemy camp. They might not be, targetable. We don't want to necessarily kill them, but God damn it, guys, you have to differentiate yourself. You have to separate yourself from them, and they don't do that. They don't do that. What they do is they side with Hamas and cheer them on. They're siding with the enemy. So it becomes a push or shove. If they can't do that, some of them will pay the price for it. That's why this collateral damage that's talked about in Gaza. Well, you're with enemies. You're supporting them in endless ways. You might die with them, literally, and a lot of them do, and that's on them. They want to support it. All right, go all the way. End up the way they end up. My sketchbook 340 says that was his first wife. She was older. Yes, she was older than him. I do remember that. But how Christian was she? I mean, at that point he was probably trying to turn away from that and get his own, prophethood going on. He wanted to get in on the religion racket as he saw it. No doubt about it. He wanted to Arabize it all. Like, okay, we're going to retain our Arab ways with a sword and all that, lying, stealing, cheating, and be holy. Guys, what do you think? We don't have to change shit, but we can call ourselves holy for it. She was a widow. Yes, he was a young, illiterate man, but a good fighter and raid leader. She was a Catholic and influential in her. I do know that first Khadija, was that her? Or was that his stepson's wife, who he took a liking to, and Allah all of a sudden gave this revelation, you can have her. You can have her. He was like, okay. Hey, man. Hey, stepson. Allah wants me to have your wife. Okay. Even at that point, some locals were like, I don't know about this guy. He's a little shady. Diana says I was not born Muslim. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, that's the conceit of Islam. We were all born Muslim. They need to believe that. They need to believe that they have to, save the world from this lie that we're not Muslim, which is a lie unto itself. Yeah. It's why they had them married. The Arabs were separate nomadic tribes. My sketchbook 340 is saying they created a monotheistic religion by having him conquer the tribes and doing away with their idols, except for the moon god. Yeah, right. That's why he went into the Kaaba and smashed all the idols. And I was asked to do, more than asked to do the book, a Danish Quran for young readers. I drew about over a dozen double page spread images based on the Quran, and one where Muhammad is proselytizing in front of the Kaaba, and to show all the idols on the Kaaba, it wasn't like this, but I told the guy, can I take some liberties here and just make the idols on the top of the Kaaba, on the edge, make all these different type of idols around? He goes, yeah, that's fine. So I did do that. And he got Muhammad proselytizing, and I gave him the reddish beard that he had, supposedly, that he liked. He dyed his hair and he wore green, and he's proselytizing, and you got people laughing, mocking him, and some people take him seriously. That's what he was. John Porton says the Catholic Church has been falling apart since the Second Vatican Council. The organization has been occupied
corrupted by the same evil. Yeah, any kind of institution, unfortunately, whatever it is, secular or religious, it's difficult to maintain whatever it's supposed to be. People get together in larger numbers, it's gonna, I don't know, eventually get corrupted. My sketchbook 330 says they hate the Jews because once he conquered the tribes, his visions were to take the holy lands from the believers of Messiah. Not the Jews particularly, but most real disciples in their region were Jewish. Yeah, and they were the first monotheistic ones. They were the longest, the oldest of the major religions, at least in that area. And he wanted to make them submit to his, religion. And he figured if I can get them, I probably can get the Christians, and then I'll have it all. Then I'll get the numbers, and then I can take over the world. The world with the bad guy won. That is what the Islamic world is. And, there's over 50 countries, dictatorships, ruled by Islam. And how did it happen? Through peaceful means? No. Imperialism, Islamic colonialism, tyrannical, Muslims going across the Islamic world and running roughshod over peaceful people, ripping them from their religion. It's like my parents' country, Albania. Converted by Turkey, over 500 years ago. Forced Islam onto Catholic Albania. Porcott says, he's talking to my sketchbook, 340 hours are from the Arabian Peninsula, not the Levant, despite conning most that they have claim to the region. There's a conversation going on here. My sketchbook 340 says the Catholics killed quote-unquote Jews as well for not conforming to the Queen of Heaven. My sketchbook 340 says Arabs are from Semitic blood, as are the Jews. The Middle East is where both of them originated. Not just that peninsula, they all have ties to that region, from Canaanites to Jebusites and even Moabites. I hope I'm reading those correctly. You seem to know your stuff in my sketchbook 340. I just want to drink something quick. And I can see here, I couldn't simultaneously stream on Rumble as I would like to, or to Getter as I would like to. Facebook, I can't now at all. They actually stopped me from doing that before, but now my account seems to be gone. Anyway, some of you seem to be on YouTube. I can tell by the icon of your avatars, and also X. Pretty cool. There's a whole conversation going on here. I do appreciate you guys. I'm just going to get going. I'm going to read a few more things and then get going, guys. You see, you guys are going back and forth with each other. That's cool. I just want to touch on it and then get going. The hell with them. You're absolutely right, Bosh. Richard Gradwell. I assume you mean about the jihadists. I don't know, Richard. If you could let me know. You've learned some bad history, poor cunt. John Porton says. Seems to be a debate going on here. My sketchbook 340 says that's who was behind the whole creation of Muhammad's army and his one tribe and new god. Nanar, the pagan moon god from the Middle East. There's many, we think we all have the answers when there's, a lot of bullshit going on, a lot of fake stories going on from Islam itself, from the history of Islam itself. I mean, they got even the hadiths, right? There were legitimate ones considered, illegitimate ones, and so on. So, I don't know. But the one thing that matters to us is that Muslims believe it's all true, the ones that they want to believe at least, and that there's a jihad, holy war against the entire world until we submit or die. That's the problem. Later, my sketchbook 340. Thanks for being here. Porcon says to John Porton, Pharisees gave no shits about messiahs at the time, as there were heaps cropping up. How do you say that? It's not Pilates, it's Pilate or Pilate. gave the order. You had Christians see, you guys have your own knowledge here, bringing it here, which is fine. The only thing I studied was Islam and everything that I needed to know for there. Richard Gravel says to Porkon, he goes, Kirion, is that how you pronounce it? Kieron Dwyer? I used to say Kirion, but Kieron Dwyer was great on cap, but go past 350. The Bloodstone Hunt was really good too. Yeah, I remember that, Richard. The Bloodstone Hunt. I like that. Trevor says, do Ditko next. Are you talking to me, Trevor, or because I'd love to. I'd love to do Ditko and Dave Mazzelli. Dave Mazzelli, and I think John Romita Jr. at a certain point, but he's not a full cartoonist. It's so funny. He was my favorite penciler. That's what I can call him, even though, for years, but Toth overtook that. But he was my favorite penciler for a while. That's all he's done. He's penciled. He never even inked any interiors for himself. He's inked some covers on X-Men stuff, and it was really good. It was really good. He used, I think, permanent pen markers, which was strange, but the end result was great. That's all that matters. So yeah, Ditko, I got a number of books on the Ditko, hardcover books. I can do the entire. I wouldn't want to read it's funny, can I do that? Legally wise, can I do that? Each issue, those 38 issues and 3 annuals of Amazing Spider-Man, can I do that? And then also have the hardcover books. I have a number of those. I got some Mr. A books, collections. And then Dave Mazzelli. It will seem to be the most because there's a lot going on there with both ours, and they write in pencil and ink and tell stories, whereas John Romita Jr. is only the pencils. Frank Miller at one point, I'll do that as well. But yeah, right now it's just Toth is to make the case, because again, people don't seem to know the fact that Toth is the greatest comic book artist of all time. It's a fact. I'm just trying to let people know about that fact. We all have our favorites, but I'll be a little facetious, but it's fun. I just think he is the greatest, objectively speaking. He's so innovative, incredibly innovative, and he gave such a damn. Porkun says to Richard Gravel, I even liked Ron Lim's run, but lost interest in Gru's run, Greenwald, I think, as soon as Rick Levins became penciler. Ron Lim, I have a tough time with Ron Lim. He seems so hacky. He really does. He seems so flat. I remember, the Infinity War from George Perez to Ron Lim. That was a tough turn. Oof. I was like, damn. That's where you really got to see the inadequacies of Ron Lim. Not that, George Perez at times was a little too much, but the guy can draw. The guy can draw. And when he was good, he was really good. Rick Levins was not good, but I kept reading. Richard says, Porkun, is it pronounced Tation? Those beautiful books. I got a number of those. Has been doing beautiful reprints of Marvel's Golden and Silver Age issues. Why can't the mainstream put in that effort when they reprint? True. Alpha Channel, hello fam. Hail Bosch, thanks Alpha Channel, thanks Beaner. I got a few more comments. Richard says, I enjoyed Ron Lim as well. I did not, Richard. I don't know, something about him. I don't know. I can't get past the hackery of it all. I just can't. It's like he was trying to be a Jim Lee, but went with half the effort at least. It was very strange. I kept going up through the Mark Waid, Ron Garney. Ron Garney was great. Ron Garney was great. I loved his run, even though I suffered through the Mark Waid shit. But that's before I knew Mark Waid was a flat-out communist. But that was a good run. And then, of course, The Heroes Reborn with Rob Liefeld. Ugh. And then Ron Garney came back. And Ron Garney's great. He's great. He had a great Silver Surfer run, too, which was very, I guess, Mobius-inspired to some extent. It looked more like the Mobius Silver Surfer. It was really good. Porkun says that Richard Dave Hooper was an improvement, but the stories were really dull by then. I was working on a project with Hoover back in 2010, 2011. Then he died. I guess, Porkun, you're involved in comics as well? Do you write them? Kilroy was here. Weapon X. Exo Man of War. Yes. Exo Man of War. It was good. Richard Reese, is that his name? Richard Reese, the inker for Magnus, and he also inked, I believe, XO Man of War. I don't know, something interesting about his inks. Very decorative, very interesting, unique. Porkun says to Richard Gradwell, he writes, Limbs, Diamondback, date issues, and Streets of Poison were awesome, especially the Kingpin Red Skull fight. I don't know. Ron Lim, I just never. And again, I think it could have been the Infinity War from Perez to him. I was like, whoa, what the hell? I didn't like sometimes the look that George Perez gave certain characters. Like his Hulk, I couldn't stand. A long face, weird, small head. Spider-Man, he went, he tried to outdo, McFarlane with the huge eyes, and it didn't work. He was too much of a realistic artist to do that. You got to be a cartoony artist to do that. It didn't work. But from that to Ron Lim, it was a very, very tough. Richard says, Bosch the Cat being replaced story from 332 to 350 was a really good story, in my opinion, as was Bloodstone and Streets of Poison. Was definitely not a fan of Cap Wolf. Yeah, me neither. That was, and I love werewolves, but I will check it out because right now I'm rereading these old Captain America runs from Roger Stern, John Byrne, J.M. DeMatteis, I believe he wrote it, if that's how you pronounce it, and Mike Zeck, which I'm really enjoying. And I will check out some of the stuff at that point, 332 to 350. I will definitely check it out. I read it years ago, but I remember losing interest in it. I do remember that. Porkun says Milgram drew Captain Marvel 29, 37 to 53. Okay, that's a long run. That's long enough, yeah. Definitely, I'll check it out because I wanted, if he was good at one point, I'd like to see it. His West Coast Avengers was not good. His Avengers was terrible. Secret Wars 2 was not good. And again, I still think the story was a legitimate story, a good story. Just needed a good artist. You had to live up to that story. You got a good artist in there. You can tell, okay, it deserved that. Richard says, I went back for Heroes Return, so I read the Wade Garney cover. Yeah. Poor Cunt says, Heroes Reborn was so bad. It was really bad. Image guys came back to Marvel. The Jim Lee Fantastic Four, that wasn't even good. Alpha Channel says, yes, I understand the desire to do a complete story in art. Yes, absolutely. Wingus Dingus says, I understand the switch to digital lettering, but for what it's worth, I liked your hand lettering. I appreciate it, Wingus Dingus. I liked it as well. I tried to mimic it. I tried to put my handwriting. I didn't quite like it. I liked this other one that I'm using more. I think it works better. Leandra, hello, Leandra. Richard, you're talking about henchman Jim Steranko. Good. I love seeing that he's still at conventions and still a madman going out there and making these posts. It's just fun. It's fun, and the guy was a great artist. Magic Me says, thank you, Bosch. Don't know exactly what, but I do appreciate Salty Traveling Sea says, Bosch dropping solid wisdom. Thanks, Salty. Trevor says, what is the appeal of Islam? Why would one choose that over every other religion? I know. That's the thing. In terms of what's the appeal, right? You're born into it. I can get it. I was born into it. I can get why you're Muslim. You're born into it. That's all you know. Hopefully you can get out of it. I did. Fortunately, my mid-teens, I realized it. But then a guy like Andrew Tate, that dummy, becomes Muslim in his mid-30s, late 30s. Like, something smells about that. Something really smells. It doesn't matter the fact that he's misogynist and, he fits right in with that and he hates Jews. And it's something, a grown man to submit to that, it's very not manly. Let me just put it that way. It's not manly at all to submit to Islam. And also the Matrix. And then he goes and bends over for the Islam Matrix. It's like, okay, I thought you were against this, the Matrix, this collectivist thing, that you go to the worst form of it. Idiot. Pork Hunt. Gaza's FAFO. Yep, it is. They had to pay a price. They had to pay a severe price. And they have. I just don't want to hear that they exist, Hamas or Hezbollah. I just don't want to hear that they're, after 10/7, I drew a tombstone that said Hamas on it. It has to be the case. It has to be the case. You can't survive that kind of attack. You can't. The Nazis didn't survive World War II. You can't survive that kind of attack. Knight of Broken Glass says to Pork Hunt, we will hunt. HUICE for sport. Is he saying Jews? Glass is real from the ocean to the sea. The dry land will be free of Jews. Okay. You're out, fucker. Fuck out of here. Scum. We got a scumbag in here. Knight of Broken Glass. Yep. Nope. Free speech? Sure. You come in here and start talking about from the ocean to the sea, killing Jews? Fuck you. Scumbag. I don't give a fuck where you come from Islam or Christianity or whatever, some perverted form of something that you want to, feel is legitimate. Trevor says, how close are you to getting your channel monetized? Let's see. I think you need 4,000 hours of people viewing your stuff. I have 1,700. I believe the last I checked when they had the update, because they give you these updates every week. I think I have 1,700 hours so far. So it's a ways. It's a ways, but I like to get monetized. I mean, I want to have these giveaways in here and there. We'll see how it goes. But I enjoy doing these live streams, and if it makes some super chats from it, that's awesome. That's great. I see people doing that, and I'd like to make the most of it as well. Absolutely. And we can go on and discuss certain topics, and I can, make some reviews. I'm figuring out some stuff to make some reviews. I want to do the Superman trailer review. I liked it. Liked aspects of it a lot, but we'll see. There's that little fear factor because I don't know if James Gunn has the heroic in him. I don't know if he does to the extent that he has to for Superman. Richard Donner did. Some of Zack Snyder did, but he's too corrupted by what he thinks is edgy and dark. It's just, I just don't know if Gunn has it. Hey, that's his chance to prove it. And if he can't prove it at this point, when it's all at stake, right? If this doesn't work, his DC vision doesn't work. If he can't do that, then to hell with him. If he can't do that, to hell with him. At that point, it's like, you couldn't do this. You had all the time in the world, all the money in the world. Come on. But I hope it's good. I like the guy playing Superman. I like the woman playing Lois Lane. The kid playing Jimmy Olsen. I like the guy playing, Lex Luthor. It looks good. We will see. I have hope for it. So yeah, I don't know. I thought it'd be like over 1,000 subscribers. That's what they said, and then I found out as a fact. Oh no, it's that plus this. I'm like, okay. I have 68 videos. I think last I checked. I have some are popular. A lot of them aren't right now. That's just the nature of it. I don't care. I'm just putting content out there. All of my Alex Toll thing is up to 19 episodes. My Alex Toll series. So people watch them. Great. Yes, poor Con. I caught that bastard. He's out. He cannot come here any longer. Enough of this shit. I can't stand this. Richard, okay, I was talking about Dick Masterson, Bosch. If you can follow up, Richard, sorry, about what exactly? As in, he's still around? I know, if that's what you mean, yeah. He picked a fight with me. I said, fuck him. And I just went after him. So, you smear our troops, I'm going to defend them. You can't get away with that. And to try to smear them like our politicians, no. try to say that they're responsible for, these atrocities. The fuck out of here. They were not allowed to end this threat. They were not allowed. They haven't been allowed. Even under Trump, to the extent, they did take out ISIS and he allowed them to do that, but there's more than ISIS. I mean, we know that, You enjoy your New Year's evening as well, Diana. Take care. Thank you. Porkun says, I think they now require 2,000, so Bosch is about 520 subs off. So are you saying, Porkun, if you get 2,000 followers, then they give you the monetization? Interesting. I didn't know that. Richard says he was suited for Silver Surfer. His pencils looked good there. Are you talking about Ron Lim? Because I didn't like his Silver Surfer either. Way too busy, way too thick. It's funny. I prefer this felt surfer to the bulky. I mean, Jack Kirby, that's his creation, but I prefer the Romita version. The Garney version is something about a surfer being not a bulky guy. He shouldn't be bulky. It seems like it's more natural for him to be lean and mean. I mean, cut up and all that, but Ron Lim was busying it up with all these little dots and reflection and stuff, and keep him simple. He's a very elegant, character, surfer. Very elegant. Keep him that way. Don't busy him up. Don't muscle him. Don't make him into some kind of beefy guy. It doesn't work. At least me. Everyone has a preference. I get it, but it doesn't fit, I think, with the character. Romita Jr.'s version in Daredevil was really good. It was really good, and his Mephisto was fantastic. Porkut says Danny Bullnotty's ink on Lim elevated him. Tom Christopher flattened him. I hated Danny Bullnotty's inks on Daredevil. Mez Kelly, that was tough. Very much of an eyesore. I couldn't wait for Mez Kelly to ink his own stuff, and then when he did, it was game over at that point. It was like, holy shit, this guy's all-time great. Trevor says, you need some wrenches in here to weed out the scum. Yeah, I got that piece of shit out. They're going to come. And again, the more numbers I get, the more they will come. That's the nature of it. And maybe at some point, we'll have some people willing to do that. But yeah, guys, I had to go. But I'm just going to finish this up and then get going. Sorry, I'm finding out some stuff here. Sorry, guys. That bastard. I keep seeing this stuff here. I guess I caught him late. I was talking. I didn't see it. Sorry, guys. Yeah, look. Free speech, absolutely. Calling for the Jews to be killed, fuck you. You are out. That's not free speech. That's incitement to genocide, is what it is. So let me just... Okay, I think I'm at near the bottom now, so let me see. Okay. John Porton, LOL, this chat will keep you on forever, Miss Faustin. Hey, guys, thank you. I always appreciate the give and take. Your interest honors me. It's awesome. Thank you so much. But I do got to get going. Trevor says, subscribe to Bosch's channel. Everyone show the man the respect he deserves. You're very, very, very kind, Trevor. Thank you so much. And yeah, guys, if you haven't subscribed, if you can do that, I would really appreciate it. And also follow me on X. Thank you so much. And, let people know also. My channel got nuked, and then they apologized. Like, I should have been like, okay, it's a mistake. Okay, what are you going to do about the mistake? I don't know. Can you give me a boost? Can you make my thing visible to some people? Maybe get some, because it's really tough to grow. It really is. I know people do it, but it's just tough from scratch. Thanks, Trevor. Appreciate it. Pork says this is a Mark Greenwald Cap Omnibus volume released this year that collects 319 to 350. Wow, that's a big one. I love those omnibuses. I have the digital versions of the Finesse 4. I want to get the Kirby. I think there must be at least 2 or 3 of the physical ones. I think it might be 2 actually. I know I got the Amazing Spider-Man omnibus. I have a number of those, but I got to get the FF one. It's funny. I love John Buscema and John Romita, but well, John Romita had a very small run after Kirby left. I think he was supposed to be the regular, and whatever reason he didn't want to do it, and then John Buscema came on. But it's that Kirby, that Finesse 4. To me, it's the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and then the Byrne Finesse 4. There's some good stuff between, but those are big ones. Those are the ones that I absolutely love, and I reread both of those not that long back. I'm going through, again, since I can't go to a comic shop and come out pleased at all, I can go into a comic shop now and I come out with nothing after spending an hour there looking for some gold. I just can't find it. So what do? Go back and reread all the old stuff because it's great. It's great, and that's it. So, Praetor 7, is that how you pronounce it? I've never really read Captain America before, and now I think I'm going to. Now I have to decide where to start. LOL. It's great. I mean, look, I want to get, if anyone knows, I want to get the John Romita Sr. Captain America issues from the 50s. I can't find the collection anywhere. I found something, but it was very, I don't know what it was. It was a few issues here or there. You know, it wasn't as great as his older stuff, but it was something about it. You could see elements of what came to be John Romita Sr.'s art in the 50s Cap, which was great, and of course the Joe Simon, Jack Kirby. But again, Kirby's art at that point I didn't really like too much. I just didn't. I loved his older work. I mean, you know, Finesse 4 when Joe Sidnick came on, that's when it just. I mean, man, it took that series to another level, and he was a great artist too. You know. Joe Sidney. He was like, he can make anyone look great. Even when he inked Byrne in a few issues of his Finesse 4, it was great. It was something about it, like an early Terry Olsen type thing where he just makes everyone look great. I mean, okay, everyone, yeah, except Al Milgrom. He inked him over Avengers. It wasn't great. Better than some of the stuff, but it's just very difficult to look at Al Milgrom's work. But yeah, I just reread the Stern Byrne run, which is great. And I'm reading the Mike Zeck run right now, which is great. Salty, Traveling Sea, make me or someone else you trust a mod we can kick in bandages for you live. I will do that at one point. I don't know how to go about it, to be honest. I'm on this stream. I'm not connected to, I don't know how I can do that. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But thanks, guys. Thanks for offering. Appreciate it. You're still on air. Are you telling me? I hope so, yeah. Praetor says, yeah, you should make someone a mod. Make it someone you trust, though. I know. Salty Traveling Sea says, James Gunn has dick and fart jokes in him. That's about it. I mean, I think he's got more than that. I mean, those Guardians movies are good. I did enjoy them. He can be an idiot at times, not funny at times. Ugh. Remember the imbecile? What's that? What's that guy? He's trying to be more left than anyone who played Drax, the Destroyer. He was such an idiot. In the second part, he became a laugher. It's like you're laughing at stupid things, and it's a stupid, ugly laugh. It sucked, and that's James Gunn. That's on James Gunn. That's his movie. So we're not going to laugh if a guy laughs. If an idiot laughs, it's just stupid. So yeah, some stuff is dumb. Some stuff is warm. It's has some heart in it, and they were fun. I don't know. Superman. That's a very. We will see. You know, you look at Creature Commandos. Like this guy's going to do Superman. I don't know. It's entertaining in its own way. I do watch it, but I don't know. Superman. Well, we will see. Porkon says we will hassle John Miller to get your subs up. That's funny. I'll mention it's funny. I don't promote my channel on Comics Get King show, or maybe I should. I should at a certain point. Praetor 7 says, if that's how you pronounce it, I think Gunn likes humor a little too much for stuff like Superman. Yeah, I think he does. Again, the original Superman movie did have humor, and some of it was hit or miss at times, but it did have its humor. But it had seriousness as well. You know, you had this with Jor-El and Superman, and then you had Otis, but it was fun. Poor Cunt says, so Jeremy said, yeah, we'll protect Bosch's channel. Thanks, guys. We need another Richard Donner. Yeah, Jeff Johns would have been the best to lead the DCEU. Maybe. I mean, I like his comics. Didn't really care for Doomsday Clock. He was preoccupied with his gay story in there. I didn't understand what he was doing. I don't know if he was trying to do it for a friend or something, but it seemed he was pushing an agenda there. It was very strange. A gay actor there. I don't know. A little off. Yeah, maybe could have been done well, but it seemed like it was forced. Didn't care for that, and it seemed like an important thing to him in the story when it didn't change the story at all about a character being gay. I guess gay at a time where it wasn't as acceptable. I guess it was one thing about being acceptable, and then it's a point about being shoved in your face. It's like, can we get a middle ground, guys? We know you got a lot of shit back then, but now you're giving us a lot of shit. You're putting it in our face. We don't want to hear about your shit. It's your own private stuff. Why tell us? Why try to get us to celebrate it? It's stupid. And that seemed like something off the grid for Jeff Johns, at least. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know. And the Rorschach wasn't Rorschach, and I don't know. But Gary Frank is the guy who kept me going because I'm like, it's so good, his art. He's so good. He's really good. Gary Frank. He's gotten better and better and better over the years also. His Hulk was fine, but it was a little too slick, a little too pretty. His Supergirl was good too, but also that little now is just right. He's inking his own stuff, and it's just, that's what he needed. You know, Terry Austin inks over Byrne was great, but I did like Byrne's inks over himself as well. I did. And Frank Miller inks over himself is also good at times. Not in Dark Knight Strikes. Definitely not that. He needed Klaus Janson at that point, even though I think he outgrew him. Or in his own mind, he outgrew him. There were elements of Dark Knight Returns where you could see that he was bothered by some of the conventional inks that, at least according to him, that Klaus Janson was doing. Klaus Janson's never been a relatively conventional inker. He's pretty edgy, pretty rough. But you see, I got this large edition of Dark Knight Returns where you can see some pages that were inked by Miller and then inked by Klaus Janson. You see them side to side. It's interesting, the contrast. I'll review it one day at some point. I showed it once on a live stream, but all right, guys, I'm going to go through a few more and then get going. The hell with him. That's what I was saying. Yes, Richard. Exactly. Yeah. I liked his review of Isom, and I liked that video with him and Eric going back and forth. But my God, that show they do where they cackle, it's so forced. You can't be laughing at everything. It's fake. It's fake. You can't be laughing at everything hard. It's like, nah, nothing's that funny. Every week, it's like, nah, I don't buy it. And that Vito guy, no, he fucked up with his own comic. I don't know what happened there, but he got it funded. He should have thanked Ethan big time profusely, and it's still not out. It's like, okay, what do you do with the money? Very strange. But yeah, going after our troops, especially the way he did, fuck him. Okay, my sketchbook 340 says it's 500 subs plus watch time, and you get a part of monetization. Then at 1,000 subs, you qualify for the YouTube partnership. Huh? I'm at 1,400 to 500 at this point. We'll see. Guardians Galaxy was a little too goofy at times, but it was entertaining. It was. My sketchbook 340 says, wait, what did Dick Masterson say? Isn't he a veteran? Or he was just wearing the 80 seconds t-shirt, ironically? I don't know. He was just trashing our soldiers and trying to blame them for atrocities that they committed, and war is bad. And it's like, yeah. I know. Sure. We need them. We need our military. It's necessary. It's not even necessary evil. It's necessary good. We need them. Men and women, they put their lives on the line. You got to respect that. He showed zero respect for that. And I commented. He posted something, so we followed each other, and he posted something. I respectfully disagreed, and then he came after me and trashed me. I said, "All right, fuck you," and back and forth. And then I think he made a video of me. Someone shared it. I saw a minute of it. I was done. I was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." We've not interacted since. Don't care to. Marshall Rogers did do a good surfer. I did like that, Richard. I did like that. Marshall Rogers is an interesting character also. Those early Batmans with Terry Awesome are fantastic. Loved it. Very unique. Very unique. The thicker ears on the side, the way he did that, and interesting. I wanted Valentino's Guardians. Poor cunt says. My sketchbook 340 says, "You're the only person I ever heard say good things about Johnny May Jr. Johnny May Jr. has been a great artist, an all-time great, and he gets so much unnecessary shit. It's shameful. It really is. The shit he gets for the work he does. I love his Iron Man, his old Iron Man, his second run on Iron Man with John Byrne, Bob Wyacek. I love his early Amazing Spider-Man run. Unfortunately, there was the lack of consistency with inkers. His X-Men run was great, and still he's producing good work, but I can't get it. Those writers, I tried some of the stories, not that good. Now he's coming back to do Amazing Spider-Man again, and again, he's unfortunately still trying to cling to that many lines and big eye stuff. It's like, that's gone. It's over. Even the artists that are going back and forth with him are drawing him like his father did, with that nose line, mouth line, relatively normal-looking eyes, and the really, really good web wrapping. But he's still, for the last 30 years, he's been doing that way. It's like, I don't know why. And he complains about drawing all the webs. It's like, okay, then draw them less. Draw them the way your follow did. He took his followers, redesigned. Check out a video I did. It's on my channel, about how the Romitos perfected Steve Ditko's Spider-Man suit. The webbing, the eyes, the line work, everything looked like it fit beautifully. Check it out. I discuss it for over a half hour. I make at least 3 or 4 different drawings showing what I mean in there. Drawing Spider-Man, drawing the profile, drawing the cylindrical webbing, the way they wrapped around his arm, the symmetry. It was beautiful. So beautiful. But I love Johnny May Jr. Hit or miss at times. Some things I like more than others. But yeah, he was great. Those early X-Men, those early Amazing Spider-Man, great. And his second run on X-Men was good. His second run on Iron Man was good. And then the Spider-Man stuff was good, but I just don't like the way he draws all the excess lines. I don't like it. It doesn't fit his style. He's a more simple artist, He should have stuck to the way he did it years before. I hope he gets to that point at some point, but he's getting up there, and we'll see. I suppose he's doing another series with Mark Millar. That's not going to be kick-ass. And I still am hoping that he finishes this one thing that he's been doing, Schmuggy and Bimbo. It's a mystical gangster 1970s story. 2 guys have been around for a long time, Schmuggy and Bimbo. Black and white comic that Howard Chaykin is doing a script for. It's Johnny May Jr.'s idea. He's been talking about it for 15 years at least. We'll see. We will see. Yeah, my sketchbook 340 gets too much shit. It's unjust, and I'm told it's not. It is just. It's not. It's not. The guy's produced great work. Check out his Iron Man with John Byrne. That John Byrne wrote and that Johnny May Jr. drew. Check it out. It's great. His old Iron Man, Demon in a Bottle, was great. And again, people say like, well, that was all, Bob Layton. It's like, really? Look at Bob Layton without Johnny May Jr. When anyone else draws and when he pencils, different worlds. Johnny May Jr. added the weight of the anatomy, of the body, of the storytelling, of the character itself. He added something. And he even made a great Iron Man when Bob Layton didn't take him. So it wasn't all Bob Layton. Bob Layton had a nice finish on his Iron Man. He did. But it was a lot more John Romita Jr. there to have given credit for the ending, the look of what ended up looking like. So yeah, John Romita Jr. is a legitimately great, all-time great. He is a great storyteller first and foremost, and then hit or miss when it comes to faces sometimes. Don't care for his modern faces. I don't know what he's doing. He's making underbites on everyone. I don't know why. He's making weird faces on some women sometimes. Not enough to condemn it though. I still see past that and say, okay, the storyteller's great. The anatomy's good, at times, even though I think he's doing legs a little thinner than he should at times. But Mr. Solomon said, I've seen that guy regular in Ethan's chat, a lot of that type of run. Yeah. Rats. Absolute rats. Salty Drummus, he says, shout your store and promo before you go. I will. Thanks, Salty Drummus. Yeah, thanks for the reminder. One last time, I'm going to mention, this is a closeout, stream for this offer that I had. It's a 24-hour offer. Now it's past 24 hours, but still, I'm here with you. When this is done, I'm going to take it off my top of my page. About 10 minutes. Last call. My first collection of mama cartoons. You order this. It's 130 mama cartoons in here, 92 pages, square bound, and you get an original Muhammad index card drawing signed in this. I slip it in there in the packing. So you can order it at top of my store, boschwalson.com. Check out anything else you might like on there. I got a lot of stuff on there. So check it out, guys. This is my winning Muhammad cartoon. If you haven't seen it, I know some of you haven't. This is my winning Muhammad cartoon that I won, and at the event of the contest where I was announced, 20 minutes after my speech, two jihadists from Arizona, a black Muslim and an Arab Muslim, drove in from Arizona a few hours to kill all of us, and they got their heads blown off, and that's awesome. So yeah, this is what I won, and they seem to really love it. It was 350 Muhammad cartoons and drawings that were sent in globally, and I ended up winning. You can't draw me. That's why I draw you. Simple, effective, and if anyone else is interested, it's a higher tier. It's $500. I sell it for. I have 7 left of my recreations of my Muhammad cartoon. I basically redraw it. It won't be exactly the same. It'll be a little different, but I redraw it and I sign a number. It's in the middle there. I said, recreation, re-creation, 7 of 20, and so on, down to 7. I have sold 13, so check it out, guys. If you're interested, I do sell that as well. It's on my store. I just sold one. I just sent one out recently. So I'm down to 7. And when that's done, that's done. That's it. No more recreation. So you get an original drawing of this by me that's signed and drawn pretty much the same. A little difference here and there maybe. But overall the same. And numbered as well, signed number. So thank you. Thanks for reminding me, Salty. So yeah, you can order this and you get an original index card drawing of Muhammad. Thank you. I'm going to finish this up, and then I do got to go. Thanks, guys. I do appreciate the give and take, and I'm honored by your being here. Thank you, guys. Good night, Miss Solomon. I appreciate it. Thanks for your support. Thank you. Much appreciated. Poor cunt. I've been going back and forth on the screen. Sorry, guys. I maybe on far left and far right. In this case, I should stay in the middle. Porkhunt says he'll be back with an alt account. That guy, yeah, sure. But we can detect him because they can't help themselves, these rats. They can't help themselves. And subtlety for them is it's impossible. They just have to get their shit in. Porkhunt says there are 2 Kirby FF volumes. Okay. Those in his Thor run are the GOAT. His Thor run, I have, it's so funny. I want to get it. But God damn it, he complained about Vince Colletta a lot. And I see some of that. I'm like, okay. I think it comes through. I know Chick Stone, I think, did some of those issues, but a lot of Colletta, and he resented it because Colletta used to, erase backgrounds and stuff, And again, Colletta, I think, gets also a bad rap Sometimes he was interesting. Sometimes he made some guys look pretty good. Believe it or not, he inked John Romita Jr. issue 192, 193, I believe. John Romita Jr. came back. It was supposed to be him coming back, and he just came back for 2 issues. He drew for the first time the black costume, and he did a great job. And Vince Colletta did a pretty good job with that, even though it looked a little, I don't know, old school, a little too old school, where I think John Romita Jr. never had quite the right ink. Even though right now, what's his name? What's his regular inker now? Scott something? It's not Scott Williams, someone else, but it's not bad. He's gotten better. He was a little too slick before, but now it seems like he understands Romita's little roughness, so it's pretty good. Klaus Janson, I think, is a little too rough for Romita. A little too. You know, you see a Superman, it's like, why is Klaus Janson inking Superman? It doesn't make sense to me. It's just too rough. It's too rough. It's strange. Porcon says, decades, Marvel in the 50s, Captain America strikes. Okay. Decades, Marvel in the 50s, Captain America strikes. Trade paperback collects Romita's Senior's 50s run with intro by Howard Chaykin. Thank you, Porcon. I will, I'll take a snapshot of that, actually. Thank you. I've seen parts of it. I've seen some stuff. Again, it's not his later stuff, but it's good. It's good. There was a lot of weight to it also, and his son picked that up from him. Very attractive women, beautiful women, attractive men. His heroes were very handsome. His women were gorgeous. I don't know if he was quite at that point early on, but it's great. Eric Hellickson says, what if China ate Superdog? Don't know what that means. Clark would show them. Okay, I see. As in crypto. We will super chat on Kings to get a shout out for your channel. Thank you. Thanks, Porcon. I appreciate your give and take care. Thank you. Superman versus F.U. Manchu. It's funny. Porcon says, agree. Gary Frank was too pretty on Hulk. Yeah, you know that Dale not getting to finish Hulk 400 put me off, Frank. I get it, man. And you know what? They were asked about Dale, and I think someone said, did he draw the Gray Hulk? He definitely did. And I remember that first issue he did, it was like a emaciated Hulk. It was a third part of this thing where Hulk was supposed to die. I think, what was his name? Jeff Purves? What a name, Purves. He had Terry Austin in him, and he was okay. He had moments, it was pretty charming, some of it. He had Terry Austin in it, and it's like, and then you got Dale Keown coming, and he drew this Hulk. It was a gray Hulk, and it was like Byrne meets Kirby. It was so good, and I knew, holy shit, we're in good hands now, because the anatomy, everything was just, I mean, hitting on all of the cylinders. It was just so well done, and then it was uniquely his still. It clearly influenced by Byrne, but his Hulk was great, and he drew the Hulk for a number of issues at that point, and then it took form of, it was an integration, I think, of the Hulk, of the Savage Hulk, the Gray Hulk, and then a Bruce Banner. It was all rolled into one, into that final form. But yeah, great, just great stuff. And that first issue was great, even though Hulk was really thin. He was getting thinner and thinner as the issue was going, but it was so well done. The anatomy, I mean, the guy busted his ass to get that done well and do it really well. I think Mary Severin, I think, inked it. And then he got a slick inker like Bob McLeod, a little too slick for my taste, but I think eventually it was really good. And yeah, great stuff. Just great stuff. Great Hulk artist. Porcon says Jansen's Punisher was nice. It was good, and especially I preferred Jansen's inks over Romita in Punisher Warzone. I thought that was great. That 6-issue run with Chuck Dixon, where he even had the Albanian guy in there, which is, you know, my family's from Albania. He had the Albanian guy in there, which was pretty cool, an element in there. Richard says it depends on view hours too for monetizing. Yes, it does. The Mandarin Banquet. Okay, maybe you got your own thing going on, Eric. Sorry, I'm lost context. Porcon says Dick Masterson is anti-establishment, so has more in common with Eric July than he'd ever admit. Yeah, I can see that. Anti-government to some extent. I think he's pro-Trump, though. I think in his mind that's anti-establishment as well, I guess. Even though Eric can't admit that about Trump, he'll just get he'll get the beneficiary of having Trump as president, but without doing anything about it, and also discouraging people to vote for him. Asshole. When he has that kind of influence, it's not good for him to say. You might as well just take a dump in the voting, ballot box. I mean, that's just nasty. Richard says, I thought Ron Lim was really trying to show that silver would look like. I know. A lot of light reflecting off. I get it. It just, aesthetically, it didn't work for me. It just didn't. Again, he's such an elegant design. He's like that Daredevil suit that Wally Wood made, all red. He's all silver. He's all white. Something about it. You don't want to get in the way of that. You want to really lean in on that elegance. You don't want to chip away at it and make him bulky. It just didn't work for me, aesthetically speaking. Richard Gradwell says, John Romita Sr.'s version of Spider-Man is the version most widely known. It is. It was. He took a brilliant design of Ditko's and perfected it. He made it into this, and again, I still prefer those first 38 issues and 3 annuals to anything, ever. I prefer to Stan Lee, John Romita run. And my second favorite run on Amazing Spider-Man was Roger Stern and John Romita Jr. So good. But that first, the consistency of it all, the quality, the fun of it all, and then it was dark also at times in an interesting way, like even the, with the way he drew it, the situations he was in, being scared of the Sandman. I think got his ass kicked. Spider-Man was scared of the Sandman at a certain point. It was interesting. Frog Tony, hey Frog Tony. Thanks for being here. The Spider-Man armpit webbing needs to be in live action. It does. They had a little wink at it in the last one, I believe. It was, but it wasn't the way it looks in the comics. It's just cool looking. It's really cool. That's what he had early on. And they brought it back when Ditko had it, and then I think it disappeared at a certain point. Romita had it for a bit, and then it disappeared. And then John Romita Jr. brought it back in his run with Roger Stern, and I think he called it Web Pits. It was like a little inside joke type thing with Peter Parker himself, calling it Web Pits. Funny. Parkon says, that Living Laser issue by John Romita Jr. was amazing. Incredible. I think even comics kayfabe were so impressed by it. It was so well drawn, and the color. I think comics kayfabe were talking about the color and lack thereof, because the colorist was wise enough to use white as a color in that issue. It's something about that, using white as a color. Check it out, guys. If you haven't, whatever you hear about John Romita Jr., I know he gets a lot of shit. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't know what it is. Again, his faces sometimes, yes, are off. Yes, they weren't like that years ago. His early runs for Amazing Spider-Man, for X-Men, beautiful women. Now, sometimes not. He doesn't care as much for the final look. That's a problem, especially for an artist. Especially if you set a standard before. It's like John Romita Sr., right? Making the most beautiful women, the most handsome men, and then later on saying, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to, make... It's a letdown. If that's the standard, please keep it, or at least try to maintain it, or even go further. When you establish that, you draw, really good, heroic heroes and handsome men and beautiful women, and then don't do that after a while. It's jarring. It's like, oh, shit. It's like, what happened? You're not... It's like John Byrne also, sometimes women. He drew beautiful women, and then he didn't. I don't know, he was doing something with the nose and nostrils. It was a little weird. He was doing that for a little while. It was a letdown. It was not as attractive as it used to be. Richard says, Romita Jr.'s Punisher Warzone, I thought looked really good. It really did. It was just so good. I love Goran Parlov's Punisher, even though for some reason he makes his hands pretty small. I don't know why. Even when he's like, faced up like this, it's still, he makes his forearms like a lot bigger, and it looks, I don't know. I love Goran Parlov, but I got to talk about that one day. I'm like, I don't get it. you want to make these fists, these mitts, bigger, especially for superheroes. John Romita Jr. did that, and he gave this beaten, broken nose jaw on Punisher, and he looked like he went through hell. He looked like he went through a war, and he healed in a bad way, and that's what look he had. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed John Buscema's run also with Chuck Dixon on Punisher Warzone. It was great, really good. Check it out, guys, if you haven't seen it. Really good, and also Joe Kubert's. It was great too. But John Romita Jr., I think out of those guys, happen to be the best. Anyway, gotta get going, guys. But wow, this is now my longest stream. This is now my longest was 2:45. Now we're at 3:15. Eric says, "Good deal. I need to order more and locate the trading card and put it in a better place. I can make you test night lights so you can sell some." I guess talking to me, Eric. I'm sorry. Pork Hunt, brilliant about he was set to illustrate Shotgun series directly after that and never saw the light of day. You're talking about John Romita Jr. I think he created Shotgun. I think you're right. I did hear about that as well. He showed up. He popped up in Daredevil at a certain point. He popped up in Daredevil with his and Nascenti run. He did do that. Eric Hallickson, good chat. Good indeed. Always love it. Magic Me says, "Good night, Bosch. Keep up the good fight. Get off the stream while you can." I'm still going to do what I got to do. It's just going to be a little later than I thought. But thanks. Porkon says, "Ron Friend's Thor run was a beautiful tribute to Kirby." It absolutely was. It was a complete tribute to Kirby, and it was good. It was very good. Trevor says, "Letta was the doom of good pencilers." Letta? Oh, Vince Coletta. I see. He destroyed Grell on the Warlord. He was the guy who could bring it in on a deadline, though. Exactly right. That's what he was. He was a deadline guy. Supposedly he also had mafia links. There was a book about that. It sounds interesting and funny. He was some kind of gangster wannabe. Interesting. But some of the stuff that he did ink was pretty good, and it was something about it. I don't know what it was. It had a little, at least later on, had a little of the Steve Lealoha look. Something about it. I don't know what it was. A deadline weight. And I don't mean by deadline. I mean a dead line weight. Something about it, the consistency. Sometimes it was pretty good. But yeah, I did hear about that, Trevor. Richard, cover of 376 is Dale doing Grey Hulk fighting Green Hulk. I think it's right. Yes, and then Bruce Banner's in the middle. Is that correct? I do remember that. It's great stuff. Professor Hulk, yes, that was the final one. Even though I think it was supposed to be an integration of all of them, and then I think Peter David came out at one point. He goes, "No, that was an entirely new Hulk." I think Bruce Banner thought it was an integration of all, but no, it was an entirely new form. I think that's what it was. Porkon said, "Jeff Pervs taught at art school. Imagine telling people your art teacher is a perv. That's hilarious." It's true. What a name. All right, I'm down to the last two. Okay, guys. Look, I'm not bitching. I just had to do some stuff, but I'm still going to do it. But thank you. Always appreciate give and taking. This is long as you guys kept me here for a while, so that's awesome. Is there an option to add a signature to the artwork from your site? Yes. I used to charge more for signatures. It's not. I just do it anyway. So, we'll do that. Punisher River Blood. Is that the Buscema one you're talking about? Yeah, I think you might be talking about that, and it was great. Steve Lealoha, yeah, some great stuff. He I think, did an annual for X-Men once. He inked Secret Wars 2. He inked John Romita Jr. and one more. LOL. Okay, guys. Thanks for being here. Always appreciate it. My longest stream yet. And again, last time, I'm going to take it down in 5 minutes after I'm off here. Last call. My Muhammad Cartoons Volume 1 comes with an original drawing of Muhammad for 5 minutes more. It's at the top of my store. I'm going to take it down in 5 minutes. Guys, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Great give and take. You take care. Be well. And Happy New Year. It should be great. Take care, guys.